And
10 seconds. 2 seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live stream audience there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope TV, LinkedIn. Glad to have you with us. On today's show, we got lots of stories coming in. We're following the news headlines very closely right now. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there as well. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
So lots of good entertainment out there, which oddly enough, some people are thinking, well, wait a minute, what is coming up around the corner? Of course, you've got the holidays, you've got time off, you've got people, unfortunately, mandatory time off. Lockdowns are ensuing around the world. But at the same time, we kind of got to go back to, well, what is, in the event that lockdowns happen in our own neck of the woods, what can we do to keep happy, right? So I think that's probably a subject for today that we could probably all think about. And for those of you tuning in, let's talk about some ideas on how you have found it perhaps beneficial to take some necessary time off, because unfortunately, I know a lot of the news has been really bad news. What have you done and or thought of that you could say, hey, you know what? I either learned a new hobby, learned a new lesson, learn whatever it is, because there's some movie news coming out that I think might inspire some, right, Jesse?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
So first of the top of the news, Wonder Woman. We've been wondering what's going to go on with that. And I understand you have some news on that right now, right?
Yeah, actually, Warner Brothers surprised me quite a bit because their initial release date for Warner Brothers, well, not the initial, it got pushed back quite a bit. But they're saying that it was going to be released on Christmas, which I thought was horribly wrong because I don't know about you guys, but my theaters aren't open. So they're going to release it on Christmas Day on theaters, but they're also going to release it on HBO Max. So if you have HBO Max, great. If you don't, sign up for the free trial. But Wonder Woman will be on HBO Max for, I think, 30 days. So that's your time to watch it and support the movie.
Yeah, and I think Chris Pine is in it, right? Which is from the original. And so I want to see how they do that. And I think they take a flashback to the 80s, correct?
Yes, it's called Wonder Woman 1984.
Got it. So I mean, look, if you guys have not seen Wonder Woman, I will always recommend Wonder Woman. I remember I took quite a few people to go watch it that hadn't watched it before, and they were just amazed. And that was one of the very few DC movies ever done that well that I can understand, Jesse, why it's like, I think we need a good break from the crazy. I do wonder what the theater experience is going to be like, because back to what you're saying, it's like, what other movies are going to be playing, or are people going to want to pay to go see that when, in fact, they could do it at home as well? So I think it's a good first run, at least, because I don't think people really know what's going to happen in the coming cold winter months. Because looking at the numbers right now, the coronavirus has surged significantly in certain parts of town. But, I'm hoping that there's certain parts of the U.S. where that just isn't the case, right? Maybe we could figure out where those places are, and maybe those places are doing okay, because I can't imagine it's all over everywhere, right?
Yeah, I hope not, considering are other states doing color tiers? Because ours looks like an eggplant. So that means that's pretty bad.
Eggplant Parmigiana? Does that sound like what California and other states look like? Look, I don't know, but I just know wherever you're at, you're tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Got quite a few people tuning in. Let's see. We've got Cedric over there saying hello, wave. Stephanie Reed says hello, happy editing and onset of a commercial. This glorious sunshine, awesome day for today. Good job from Cleveland, Ohio. Stephanie, she knows what cold's like. I do not complain about cold whenever it's here, because there it's like, what is it, like negative in the -0? Yeah, they get cold over there. Katya Wunderland tuning in from Switzerland. Thank you for tuning in, Katya. Good to have you. Patrick Kilpatrick says hello, brother. Patrick Kilpatrick. Okay, for those of you that don't know, go follow Patrick Kilpatrick. This guy, he and I go way back. Did you ever watch the movie? He's been in a lot of movies, Jesse. If you look up his name, you're going to be like, oh my God, no way. One of those that I always remember, and I truly am happy to talk about, is one with him and Tom Cruise. And he plays this amazing bad guy. He always plays the bad guy. I'd like to see him play a good guy once in a while, but he just plays the bad guy just so well. And he and I go way back. And so I appreciate him. Patrick Kilpatrick, go follow him, find out some of the great stuff he's doing. He's always producing, writing, acting. He's always willing to help others out. And big heart as well. Boy, does he play bad, though. I'll tell you that. Okay, we got Patrick Kilpatrick there. Thanks, Patrick, for tuning in. We appreciate you, but go check it out. Maria says, hope everyone is having an awesome morning so far. It's beautiful outside here. Cedric says, I heard Taiwan doesn't have a single case. Yeah, actually, we talked about that about a week and a half ago. Taiwan actually has proven many days without it. Now, I'm hoping, again, all that information is true, but it seems like it is because they had a huge parade and they were like happy that they had implemented way early. And I believe January or February, when it was just starting to take off, they implemented some very strict procedures or protocols, but are we going to do the same here? Who knows, right? Let's see. Other people tuning in, we appreciate you. Okay, so let's go to some of the top news here at the top of the hour. And one of them is the coronavirus. I know many of you are kind of, but let's get over that. So I'm going to start off with that so we could just get over it. But here's the reality. Labs are bracing for the impact of infection. The surge is continuing to happen. Again, if you feel sick and or you feel like you need to be tested, better safe than sorry. And obviously, look, however you're going to celebrate, I know many people are being more cautious than ever before. And I do think that, at the end of the day, people just want to tell the tale to live longer, right? Let's face it, let's get to the point where we can watch Wonder Woman, where we can think about theaters, where we could think about going back to the way it was, right? When it was normal. Let's at least get through it. And you know what? I do like that one of our social media comments did talk about Taiwan, because the reality is, if they could do it, we technically can do it here. But what is it going to take? Is it so widespread that unfortunately people just don't want to do what was done there? I could see that happening, but sometimes we have to look at the very serious topics and we just need to figure out, well, are we willing to kind of take the plunge, so to speak, but it's got to start from the top down. I know many people don't want to hear that, but there's businesses closing day in and day out that can't. Let's look at movie theaters, for example, Jesse. How many movie theaters are currently open in your neck of the woods?
Other than the drive-in, none.
They're all closed, right? And how do they pay for their leases? Now, I would imagine that they got some type of ability, right? Or the creditors or debtors, unless you own it outright, there's got to be somebody at the very top that you got to pay off, right? For space or rental space. But that's happening for a lot of people. Rent is very difficult. People are moving in with other friends or family members. They're making ends meet. Some are going back to, family members that they thought they couldn't go back to, and now they are with them, and they're finding that it's better to be safe than sorry. So however you're maybe bundling your own self or together with your family or friends, we appreciate you. Some of you are still very, let's face it, on your own and just trying to figure things out. And for those of you doing that, I appreciate you more than you know. I did see a very interesting article, and this one is one that I think we do need to pay attention to going forward. And this was a very interesting story about the Mayo Clinic. I saw this and I said, oh no, this is where we're at currently. In the Midwest, the Mayo Clinic staff, over 900 have contracted COVID-19 in the past 2 weeks. That's according to officials. The medical center is worried about the health of their staff and having enough people to care for patients as healthcare professionals themselves become infected with the virus or have to quarantine due to exposure. Dr. Amy Williams, who's the executive dean of the Mayo Clinic practice, said during a press call that in the last 14 days, 905 Mayo Clinic employees in the Midwest, including in Minnesota and Wisconsin, have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Officials are currently speaking on. That number represents more than 30% of the total number of staph cases during the pandemic. Most of the exposure, which is about 93%, happened in the community, not at work. Although I have a feeling, Jesse, that's neither here nor there at the end of the day. I don't trust those numbers right off the bat. I never do, because you always wonder who's trying to cover themselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
So here's my question, of course. What does this mean going forward? And I'm sure a lot of thinking people are thinking, wait, what does that mean? When you think of the Mayo Clinic, you think of many at-risk people, many of which we've had the Mayo Clinic professionals here on the show. You've got patients that need help, that have autoimmune disorders. So now you're wondering, well, how many are currently being exposed to on this? So here's the rest of the story. Let me scroll down. To help with the staffing shortages, the Mayo Clinic is recruiting healthcare workers back from recent retirement, bringing in staff from other sites like Arizona, temporarily moving research nurses into patient care roles and reducing elective care to redeploy staff to COVID-19 patients. Minnesota recorded a number of hospitalizations with 1,706. That's according to the tracking project. The areas of the state bordering Wisconsin are reporting over 85% usage of critical care beds at hospitals. Hospitalizations are expected to increase in the coming weeks. As I said, you got to be careful here, people. It's going to get worse. In preparation, the Mayo Clinic Hospital St. Mary's campus in Rochester is increasing the number of medical beds to care for patients with and without COVID-19. She said this: we need to be very vigilant and not assume that things are going to settle down. Amid rising cases and hospitalizations in the state, Governor Tim Walz said they set new coronavirus restrictions. So, look, that's pretty much the beginning of a situation which I can almost guarantee you is going to get worse. We've talked about this before. We've talked about it back in, I believe, early April. And what we talked about was simple. You have only so many on the front line able to take care of the rest. If those do get sick, again, look at the numbers. The majority hopefully will get well. But if they're getting sick and they're visiting several patients, well, now you've got a situation happening in the hospital beds. But if you have some that need to take a 2-week off period, now you've got a shortage. We already have a shortage of nurses and or doctors. We used to actually bring a lot of nurses in from other countries as well. But as of late, everybody that's in the healthcare medical business, let's face it, they need to be where they're at. So there's got to be a way to figure it out. But I don't know if we're too late ahead of it. I've got to think we just got to remember, let's try to focus, get the necessary education to those to be streamlined in. Hey, do I hope that we'll be rid of coronavirus by early next year? Of course, I want to hope that. But do I think it's still going to be around for quite some time? Honestly, I hate to say this, but I do think so. But we have to prepare for the long term. And hey, even if coronavirus disappears, who knows when the next big virus will hit? We got to be ahead of it, not behind it. So there you go. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. Let us know what you think in social media comments, good, bad, or indifferent. We'll talk about that next here on The Morning Show. All right, those of you tuning in, we appreciate you. And let me bring up that comment again. There he is, Patrick Kilpatrick. This guy, I think over 180 films. The number is crazy how many he's been in. And I learned so much. You know, sometimes when you think back in your life, you think of certain people that are there and they're there at the right time, right? And he was certainly there at the right time for me in a lot of ways. You will recognize him from Eraser, Last Man Standing, Death Warrant, Minority Report, and many other things that he's always a part of. Always staying busy. That guy, just I always admire his drive, his tenacity, and his willingness to help people out. And oftentimes never for pay, honestly. He just did it because it was the right thing to do for a lot of people. I always saw him doing that, you know. So look, in many ways, and I know, I remember him saying, I've helped so many people, they don't even say hi, and I'm like, oh, sorry, and because I think that sometimes I go, man, I got to go visit that guy, see how he's doing, make sure he's safe over there. But Patrick Kilpatrick, go check him out, support him, and look, I know he and I will disagree on some politics stuff, but at the end of the day, he knows, I know, we're still gonna get along. At least I hope. But there you go. Go check it out. Patrick Kilpatrick, smart man, funny guy, and big heart. Big heart.
I just Googled him.
Yeah, you recognize him now?
Yes, I do. He plays a lot of bad guys.
Oh, Dad, and I love to impersonate him. I don't know if I could do him justice, though. Hey, it's me, Patrick Kilpatrick. Do you want me to? I can't even say the things he'll say because then people will be like, just, you can't do that. No. Good guy, though. Big heart. Big heart. And the stories he had. Oh, my goodness.
10 seconds.
All right.
2 seconds. We're coming back.
Welcome back. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, and joining our live audience there on social media. And we're pulling up some comments there. Let's see what people are saying out there right now. We've got Maria tuning in from Canada. Says, hope everyone is having an awesome morning so far. It's beautiful outside here. And take a picture and go ahead and post how beautiful it is. Let's see. We've got Maria also says, Zoom Christmas in our house this year. Customs is closed till the new year. Yay. And they won't let me send food in care packages. Postal Service. Yeah, see? So there's that. And perhaps that's how you're going to do it. Maybe go get a Zoom account and or FaceTime. I think Facebook has chat room feature, which I haven't tried out, but I think you could still do the same thing. I don't think you have to have Zoom or pay for it in order to connect with others. You just have to make sure you all have a Facebook account. I think Instagram does that as well. I think they have like up to 4 or 5 or 6, but I forget how they do it. There's certain ways that you could create like a room and still chat with each other. I think video has it. I haven't checked it out. I've wanted to, but there you go. Let's see. Rosalie says, good morning. Thank you. Appreciate you. Judy Munoz. Sorry, Judy. Good morning, Aaron, Jesse, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day watching and listening here in Rawlins, Wyoming at my mama's, Isabel Garcia. Awesome. Very good. And this is true. Shout out again to Patrick Kilpatrick. Great actor. Maybe we could have him back sometime. Have him call in one of these days. I'm sure he's got something he's working on. And yes, Penelope actually does know this. He was Elvis' bodyguard. That's a fun fact. And actually, he acted with Robin Williams and a whole host. I believe Christopher Reeves as well. They all actually go way back. So very interesting individual, great guy, and I can't say enough about him. I in my life, I have certain mentors, I will call them, and whether they know they're my mentor or not, they help me go next step, whatever step that is. And I always say, in your own life, sometimes there's people that if you look at them as mentors, sometimes you at least learn a lot from them. And if they just help you out because they just want to, take the time and invest the energy into learning what they know. Sometimes you can help them out. Sometimes they can help you out. Sometimes it's reciprocal in a lot of ways, but sometimes, it just helps to go through life and sometimes seek out help in either it's a career or maybe you want to become an entrepreneur, or there's a lot of business owners, for example, that try to do it themselves all out of the gate, to which I say, if you could find somebody that's already done it that you trust, maybe it's not the same category, but they know a lot more than you. I've got other people that I look to for business ideas, and we do powwow little moments. And I say, okay, provided we move forward in life, and, I am able to make things happen. There's certain people I always go to, and I go, what do you think about this, that, and the other? And when you can create what I call like a think tank situation of very smart professionals, if you could do that in your own life, I say more power to you. That will advance you, will power you up in such a way that you will be able to be ahead of the game than behind. Now, I will say with Patrick, he was teaching me production, film, television, and the way it was in that category. And I really wanted to go into that field, but I guess somehow, things just took me into what I'm doing now. But if I could do it over again, I probably would have gotten the acting route at some point. But it just never came to fruition. However, at the end of the day, I learned a lot about, taking ownership of your own show, making it a success, or trying just to make it happen, right? Sometimes, you have to figure out other parts to it. But at the end of the day, it takes certain people in your life that you got to say and give a nod to and say, you know what? Thank you for helping me. So my nod and moment right now is to Patrick Kilpatrick. Thank you for helping me. I know, of course, I learned a lot. We learned a lot together, and we had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun learning with that guy. And I'm telling you, great guy. Go follow him on social media. I may not agree with everything he says online, but he may not agree with everything I say online either. But at the end of the day, I know we're really good friends. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. And if you got a good friend out there and/or a mentor or somebody that just helped you out, they didn't even know they were your mentor, just give them a quick little, hey, I appreciate you. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, here we go. Those of you tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're brand new to the show, don't let it be your last. This is our commercial break where we just talk about whatever. Right, Jesse?
Yep. I'm just thinking how cool his name is. Patrick Kilpatrick. That's awesome.
I wanted to do a reality series on what's killing Patrick Kilpatrick. Because every day was a drama with that guy. I kid you not. It was always a drama. He took me shooting. That was the best time I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Like with rifles. And then we did so much, we did some badass stuff. I was like, this is how you become badass. Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, great name, right? Patrick Kilpatrick.
Is that his real name, or did he make up one? Because that's pretty cool. Like, is that his stage name?
I wouldn't tell you if I knew it, but I don't remember, to be honest. Because if it's not out there, I'm not going to be the one to throw that out there.
Don't put that there.
Yeah, because knowing Patrick could be like, why are you throwing that out there? I never gave you permission. You signed a non-disclosure agreement.
I'll come for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he did. He taught me how to do proper reads for scripts. I never got to apply it because my life went over to the right. Sometimes I think like, oh man, I just wanted to do some acting. But he actually was my acting coach as well. He took the time to I'd help him run his lines, but then I was able to he helped me go through how he gets into that mode of character of how he does really, I'm just going to say it, very bad and or nefarious characters.
Right.
Because I'd be like, so Patrick, what do you do on your off time? This doesn't matter. It's just because he just got into the heads of so many. You're like, I believe you're a serial killer. I hope you're not. Yeah. Just God.
20 seconds.
Oh, Patrick.
It's like, I'm not a serial killer. Wait, so that means you only did one?
The characters he'd play, though, seriously.
Right? Okay, we got 5 seconds. Coming back.
All right, thank you. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live stream audience, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope TV, and wherever else you could find us. We appreciate you. We are on Apple TV via the Periscope app. So, speaking of which, there was some Apple TV news over there, right, Jesse, about Charlie Brown and then some?
Yeah. There was a lot of people raising a little stink because the Apple TV bought the rights for the Charlie Brown stuff. I'm not sure what the whole collection is called, but yeah, so everyone was mad because they were not going to air it on broadcast TV. But if you have an internet connection, you could always just download Apple Plus and watch it for free on Halloween. But so they recently partnered with PBS. So the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving will be on PBS and PBS Kids on no, not October. We're in November. What am I saying? November 22nd. So that'll be your time to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
All right, so there you go. That's option number 2. If you don't have Apple TV, which I don't know how many people have Apple TV. Do you have Apple TV, Jesse?
I do have Apple TV. It's just like an app, just like Amazon Prime and stuff like that.
But I know it's easy to screencast from your phone to Apple TV, right? If you have an iPhone, because it's all interrelated, so it's much easier that way.
That it is.
Okay. And I know I wanted to get that way back when, but then I went the Roku way. So I guess I have a question. Which one is better, Apple TV or Roku? If you had to, maybe, I don't know, get a holiday gift for somebody in your family.
If I would get one of those, I would get whichever one. Oh, I don't know. It depends on what they use more. Because my dad has the Roku one.
Right.
But he has the $100 version. Okay. Which has like a faster processor. So we have the highest one and then we have the cheapest one. Save your money, go for the most expensive one because it's better connection and stuff like that. Plus, it also has a unique function where on the remote, there's a little headphone jack. So you can plug in some headphones and just listen from your remote.
Nice. Okay, so there you go. That's an option. And let's see, people tuning in there. Maria says, I have Apple TV too. It has some good stuff on it. Let's see. Lefty over there says, YouTube is ruined. There's now commercials every 3 or 4 minutes. You know what? I will say this. When it comes to certain video that I watch, don't you hate it when you just want to watch a 30-second clip, but it's like a 15-second commercial for a 30-second clip? That frustrates the heck out of me. So there's that. Let's see. Judy says, I have Apple phone, but do not use the Apple TV yet. Okay. Mario also says, Roku is number 1. I remember back in the day when we had a show on Roku way back when, and I was telling people to watch Roku and or get it. And I guarantee you the majority of people didn't even know what a Roku was. I knew Roku when Roku was just nothing at the time. And so it's kind of interesting to see it fast forward. I hope Roku does really well in the coming years. I know they kind of went around about by getting into cable companies, and then all of a sudden people found Roku, right? Because they were like, well, we're going to send you a Roku box. I know Charter Communications did that, and I think that was the smartest thing Roku could have done, because now everybody knows what Roku is. But I remember saying, we're on Roku. They're like, what is Roku? I'm like, go get one. What does it do? Smart TV. It was all brand new, but it's fun to think about things that when you discover them, fast forward like several years later, everybody knows it, right? But you knew it when it wasn't popular. Isn't that kind of like interesting? Like, if you could go back and do it again, would you do it? And would you be like, I don't know, maybe I'll invest in that before it gets really big? Oh
yeah, most definitely. I'd invest in Netflix straight out the bat, because for those of you that remember, Netflix was a DVD rental service through the mail.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that?
Because I subscribed.
Yeah, me too. I did that. And then when they came out with the streaming service, I'm like, streaming service?
Well,
okay.
You remember Redbox when Redbox came out?
Hmm.
So I had this idea literally months before Redbox came out. And the idea was this: why don't I create something that people could either A, have delivered with pizza, right? Because I thought of the Netflix idea, but I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, because at that time, video stores were still operating, right? And I thought in order to keep video stores operating, they got to team up with pizza places, but you got to have a delivery service, right? And
Yeah.
then I saw this new thing, which was just barely coming out. And I thought, I wonder if it's like the vending machine of and those are still around, right? For the population that just still has DVD players, right? They don't stream. And that is the population that technically goes and gets at Redbox the DVD still, right?
Yep.
For the rest of us that are early adopters technically of streaming devices, there's always, nobody has a VCR, I think, or if they do, they certainly don't do anything with it anymore. But there's still VCR places that I've seen that have videotapes. It's kind of vintage. But what happens when they break down? So there's always the early adopters, and then it's about cost, right? So we can never forget those that maybe don't have access. They still do watch on television. They still have television. They have the antenna in their own area, and so they get over-the-air antenna. So there's always early adopters, then late adopters due to income and or poverty. So, sometimes I do say things in general and I say, well, nobody watches TV. And then I forget. And I have to remember, not everybody is in the same category. Not everybody can afford to have the latest and greatest new device. So sometimes we have to kind of take a step back. I know I do as well, and say, okay, how do we help everybody, and then help, those at different levels of income be able to have different things. So sometimes when we speak to others that understand. Then we got to remember that there's other devices and or new platforms coming out each and every day that will eventually help everybody catch up eventually. But yeah, Jesse, I remember Netflix was a cool thing that you got. I think you had like 3 or 4, and I always kept 1 or 2 by accident, and then I was right. But they had the ever revolving. I think it was, how much was it? $20.
I honestly, I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
So long.
So there you go. Stephanie Reed says, I only have Spectrum and Disney Plus. Maria says, I bought the first Roku when it came out. I have Fire TV, Apple, and I use my Roku like 85% more than the rest. So yeah, my mom discovered recently on the Roku, you have ABC News on there as well, because she doesn't have broadcast television as well. But she did find that. She goes, oh, so she got caught up on a lot of stuff that she didn't know. And I was like, well, good, Mom. At least now you know why I say be safe, stay inside. Oh, my goodness, my mom. She's like, let's go out. I'm like, no, you don't understand. She's like, no. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, we're on a commercial break. I know we're kind of switching gears up a little. I'm making it a funner show, at least for today. We'll probably go back to good old Boringville tomorrow. I don't know what people like or don't like on this show. I really don't. Sometimes I think, I'm looking for a consistent trail of something, but sometimes I think, our numbers pick up at certain times, and then sometimes our numbers go down. I'm like, what did they like? What did they not like consistently, right? So let us know what you like or don't like whenever we talk or don't talk about certain things. I like our social media comments because I think it's always a new show each and every day. Right, Jesse? We never know what we're going to completely share.
No, we don't. Plus, it's always fun to have the audience just like chime in, and we could always talk about a certain subject.
Yeah. Mario says you still can get the DVDs on Netflix.
Yeah, she blew my mind with that. Can we do that in America?
I don't know.
She's in Canada, so
well, there's licensing. I think it can. I don't know. I know there were certain ones that I wanted to see, but yeah, I don't know. I remember when they were going from DVDs to streaming, and they put a lot of money into it, and people were like, why would they do that? Because streaming at that time was slow, right? So you had to have super high speed. So you have to be like, pay a lot of money for high speed, because high speed was not what it is now. But with 5G coming out on mobile phones and becoming, a thing, we just need more content to catch up.
1 minute.
Yeah, she says we don't get the DVDs at all in Canada.
Huh.
Yeah, I should look that up, but not right now. Let me see. Let me focus on news stories. Let's talk world news, shall we? Okay.
I don't know about you, but I kind of want to move to Taiwan. No corona. Watch if I get there, it's going to be flooded with it.
You're the one that brings it in. Oh
I
no,
know, I was
Jesse.
so bad.
Jesse's the right. People say that about Columbus, right? That like certain, or not just Columbus, but certain like strains that they came in with ended up killing a large number of population because they didn't have immunity to those.
10 seconds. I heard about that. Smallpox, measles. 2 seconds.
That's right.
That's
it's
right.
the morning
It's the
show
morning
here
show
on
here on
ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live stream audience there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope TV, Apple TV. Don't forget our Alexa app. It's right there. All you have to do is say, I want to listen to KMET 1490 AM. If you have Alexa, it will start playing it right away. And Alexa will get you to listen to us wherever you're at, wherever you have Alexa at. Okay. North Korea in the news. This is the latest headline from what President-elect Biden means for North Korea. And oddly enough, we've been talking about where this could go with the current situation that we're currently in. According to analysts, it's highly unlikely that President-elect Joe Biden would have been North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's preferred candidate. President Donald Trump has been pretty unique among leaders for his willingness to engage with Kim, providing him with a sense of legitimacy on the world stage. This is according, again, to a news article published by CNN, by the way, just so that you know where the information is coming from. Ambassador Joseph Yun says, I do think North Korea would be disappointed that Trump didn't win. That's the former U.S. Special Representative in North Korea policy under both Presidents Obama and Trump. According to this article, it says for them, Trump was a big deal. They had 3 summit meetings, unprecedented meetings. The highly unusual relationship was underscored by the countless missives described by Trump as love letters that the two men exchanged during Trump's 4 years in office. Again, that's according to this publication. I don't know how much of it is truth and or rumor, but I do know this. Boy, oh boy, were they happy to come together. So hopefully, I don't know what's happening in the coming days ahead, but I do know this, whatever it is, we got to be on the alert. So just be on the alert, because I don't know either way you slice it, who is going to want to say, okay, we're ready for the next president of the United States of America. I do kind of wonder, and I listen to a lot of conspiracy theorists on what they think may happen going forward. Does it matter? I don't know. What do you think, Jesse?
Everything matters.
Yeah, and I know you've heard some conspiracy rumors over there. Can you think of maybe 3 that you think might happen? I know we talked about this way back when and said, well, if Biden wins, will Trump be willing to let go of it? But he was kind of prefacing it way early on, almost indicating he wouldn't. So a lot of people are kind of wondering, is he going to? What is the worst case scenario? What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I want him to what is it? Not secede, but just say, okay, I lost. That's all I want. But yeah, I think that I've come across a lot of conspiracy theories that oh, he's not gonna give up the presidency and all this other stuff. I heard somewhere if Biden is elected, he'll pass away mysteriously within the first year and all these other stuff. So I try not to dive too much into those because some of them can be just really creepy.
I do. I like to think outside the box, and I like to go, okay, what does everybody think? I don't like to push out everything that I think is going to happen, but I like to hear different viewpoints, because I think, look, whether you agree or disagree, we're at a time in history that's unprecedented, right? Never before has it ever been in the U.S. that we live in to such a stalemate of, are you going to kind of just say, hey, I lost? I mean, if, for example, let's say Hillary Clinton and going back to Trump, right? Whether you love or hate Hillary or whatnot, Hillary at least said, okay, fine. She like took a sidestep and there you go, right? There's been much closer, like nail biting, very close end results where you've seen, okay, they had to do a recount. We've done that, right? We've done recounts. Remember Chad's, we did the Chad thing, right? And so granted, every election has its like wherewithal as of the last, what, 3 presidents. But to get to the point where you're kind of making it like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna, just the fact that you hear that causes a lot of tension, I think, among people going, well, what's going to happen next? Are the Pentagon going to what's like what you expect that from third world countries? You do not expect that from the United States of America, right? I think at the end of the day, you go, okay, I could see that, like, I don't know, in a documentary. I think there were a couple countries. I'm not going to say the country that's coming to my head because I don't know if it's true, but I want to say like Rwanda, right? In Rwanda, there was a big situation that happened there. Ethiopia, Afghanistan, there's so many other places that I could probably name that you go, okay, that makes sense there, but there's a reason the U.S. has a constitution. There's a reason there's a check and balance system. There's a reason for that so that we don't have this type of situation ever happen, ever.
Mm-hmm.
But is it becoming like that? And I would pose that question, at least for those that are thinking forward. Why is it happening that way now? I don't think should be happening. I don't think it should be allowed. I don't think it should be even really talked about. Hey, you snooze, you lose. Next one, right? The people chose. Okay, next. And at the end of the day, can we just get back to reality? Coronavirus, businesses need to get back up and running. People need to be employed. People got to be able to pay the rent. Renters got to be able to. There's so much more that needs to be done. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to hold on to it. Well, then you know what? Why don't you want to do this if you're not going to let go of your presidency? Say, okay, Biden, you want to be my VP? Or we both be presidents. We work together for the people right here, right now. Start now. Right. I hate to see this whole, exchange of, well, I'm going to do this. And whether you like Joe Biden or not, I don't really know. All I know is somebody's got to do the right thing. I got to imagine it's not just Joe. It's not just Kamala. It's not just Trump. It's not just Pence that are making all the decisions for everybody. There's got to be somebody behind the scenes making decisions as well. I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again because there's got to be people behind the scenes that are smarter that go, hey, pay attention. Coronavirus, right? Isn't that what happened at the beginning, Jesse?
I hope so. Like President Trump, no, don't say that.
Yeah, and you could see that early in March, right? He was like, no, going, and then all of a sudden he read, almost like he was forced to read. Coronavirus is here. We're going to do this. We're signing a task force. Stuff he just didn't want to say, and now we're kind of back at stuff he just doesn't want to say again, right? But look, whatever you think, whatever, does your vote matter? Does it count? I think at the end of the day, people got to ask that. Did it count? I don't know. But there you go. Whatever you decide, look, do I always agree with the decisions made? Not as of late. Did I ever care before that? Not really. I just care that people are alert that coronavirus is here. It's not fake. It's not a hoax. And the world is dealing with it right here, right now. We are not in our own Bible enough. And if you still are in your own bubble right now, get outside of your bubble. And that's what I love about our social media audience. Our social media audience is from really everywhere. We got people tuning in from Switzerland. We got people from Canada. Sometimes we used to get people over from India, right? But lately they have not been tuning in as of late, which makes me wonder what's the situation there. I'll be honest, I've kind of been dealing with other things as of late. I haven't been able to look at the world scene. So you got to ask if people are all in agreement that, again, outside of the presidency, I think other world leaders and or other countries are kind of going, you still are dealing with that? We're trying, like Taiwan, trying just to keep it out from our area, right? And no lie, Jesse, I have thought, maybe I should move my mom and me to like an area where actually there is no coronavirus and we could just vacation there, right? But even then, if you do that, do you bring harm to that county? I don't I don't know, but there's vetting areas or ways that you could go both get tested. And worst case scenario, if more people think like that, then all of a sudden Taiwan goes, no, stop, and then they, you get what I'm saying. But we have to learn from those that are currently doing it well. What did you do to get it down? That's number one. Oh, we implemented very harsh lockdown procedures. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Taiwan actually did a full 8-week, yeah, that's right, 8-week lockdown. And it was a stringent one. Then they implemented certain procedures and or protocols. If you did have to work or you did have to become essential, they had certain things like that. But did the government step in to be able to pay for them, to be able to help them out? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Did they do it to make it necessary? I know people always go, well, where are you going to get the money from? I say, where does anybody ever get the money from, right? You look at certain things happening, you go, money gets spent for that, and the other. I'm never going to say stop, spending money for defense and or because you never know who's going to take you out. That's reality. But there's always a way to make sense of it all. Okay, bankruptcy is a thing, right? It's there for a reason. There's certain laws and legal things that have been implemented to protect the very rich for quite some time. And as much as I love the very rich, I love them because hopefully I hope that they employ many people, they do the right thing, and they keep moving business and entrepreneurship forward. They keep moving and helping communities last. There's big dominant players right now that are currently making a lot of money, whether it be streaming, pharmaceutical, and or the like, which are providing telemedicine services. Look, I'm not against working hard for and earning a living wage, but what I am against is, when people say, oh, well, we can't figure it out. We're pretty smart. I hope we're not that dumb to say, no, we can't figure it out. I'm pretty sure we could figure it out. And even if we had to do at least a 4.5, get everybody taken care of, provide essential services, get people studying, educational system. How easy is it now to put a curriculum together, once and replicate that again and again and again for people of all ages? How difficult is that? Right, Jesse? I mean, e-learning, it may not be fun, but if you could come out with a pretty cool job at the end, wouldn't that be good?
That would be good. E-learning is hard though. It's hard to concentrate.
It is. And it is. But I think we need to identify going forward. We need to identify these sectors. We need to identify the engineers. We need to identify those in top level. There's so many. I mean, I'm thinking of 20 right now that I can't even want. I don't even want to say because there's just so many. Now there's 50. But look, at the end of the day, you need more nurses. You need more doctors. So you got to deal with that, right? So you got to streamline some of those procedures, but not to the point where you have a novice person working on you, right? I know some are having new cool robotics that are actually helping people out. One, I think they were testing a little mini robot to be able to interact with people so that their coronavirus didn't get spread in the shopping industry. We'll apply that to, nursing at least, right? Have somebody be able to do so virtually from, like typical procedure things, right? So that they can go, they don't even have to be there in person, right? I mean, there's ways to do it. There's ways to figure it out. And I think we have smart people, but I think we're all just reacting as we go. And that's the hard part. I almost want to put pause and say, okay, people, quick, how do we fix this, right? Put everybody in a control room, 101. Houston, we have a problem. And all of a sudden people are like, okay, how do we do this? Boom, put a bunch of thinking people into the room. Look, you know what? Back to Patrick Kilpatrick. He was in Minority Report. But do you know the story behind Minority Report and how they made that movie?
Actually, I do not.
Okay, here it is. Steven Spielberg wanted to do this movie, Minority Report, but instead of he wanted to do a very futuristic take, and it's a good movie, and I love the behind the scenes, but what he did is he put a lot of thought leaders, a lot of visionary, a lot of smart people and saying, what does the future look like according to what you think it might look like? And he put all these people in the same room. I don't know how long he was there with them, but to be able to put a really cool movie together, right? and to put some really good thought processes into other people. You know, when Tom Cruise does the thing with his fingers, right? And does, you know, that was before, technically, I think that was before the iPad came out, but he was able to like do the screen, and he was able to kind of, you understand what I'm saying? Like, there was some really cool futuristic stuff in there that I love looking at. I go, that'd be cool if they implemented some of that. You had people that were able to foresee the future, and then they would say, you know, crimes against humanity. It was a very interesting thought process. How do you figure out what is a crime before somebody does it? Is it ethical? Is it moral? Blah, blah, blah. But there were so many different things in that movie, Minority Report, which Patrick Kilpatrick, who visited us online earlier, he's probably not online right now, but he was a part of, you know, as an actor. But I got to say, I love that movie because you could put a lot of thought leaders together. But instead of doing that, I don't think the current administration has done that as of yet. Or have they? Because if they had, they would have said, look, people, we really need to buckle down. These are the things that we're going to improve. Our healthcare system, we're not going to be able to get over this and get back to work until we improve those getting sick and or die. Or maybe we can. Now we need business leaders to cooperate and understand the severity of it, rather than a bunch of rhetoric that it's not that big of a problem, it's not that bad of a problem, when in reality it is a problem. If we could go back and do it again, I would make Trump say, sorry, but you're going to take the first 5 weeks and you're going to say how severe it is so that people learn to buckle down early. But we can't. We got to go forward. So there you go. All right, people, I'm out of time. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Over there is Jesse Sanchez over there. And go follow him. I am Jesse Sanchez. You can follow me at Aaron M. Sanchez. We'll see you again. Make it a great day. Remember, life is worth living. Do live it well. And for the rest of you tuning in, I appreciate you. Normally I do an after show program, but I feel you guys have more important things to do, right? So I'm going to let you guys go. Let's go to comments really quick, though, and see what you guys are saying over there. Let's see. We've got... All right, here's one. Judy says this. My apartment, I have a digital antenna and pick up 5 channels, ABC, Fox, and 3 PBS. Rural Wyoming, not too many channels from the air. I don't have internet. My mama has internet, 2 cable boxes, and 2 digital antennas. Plus, my brother has her in his Netflix and Disney account, so she would like to get away from the high cable bill. Gotcha. Okay. So let's see. I have digital antenna. For those that don't know, HDTV, and I there's a lot of people I talk to, they don't know what I'm talking about. They're like, huh? Because they did a terrible rollout of digital antennas. But remember when we used to have the here, let me take this off really quick. We used to have the antennas back in the day, or you would put them on top of your roof. Different people had different things. Or you had the little ones that you hook up to your TV. All you have to do is go to your local electronics store, get the other antenna, and it picks up over the air transmission of a lot of channels. All these channels had to go to HDTV. They were mandatory, but the rollout was so bad. A lot of people were like, what? I could get free TV in my neck of the woods? Yeah, HD TV. Look for the antenna. They have all different types. Some are really good. Some are meh. I would go with mid-level range, so you could get, because the better antenna you get, the further away it goes. Now, in some areas, the reception's bad in the area because maybe you're in a section like where I used to be, the mountains would block the majority. So we only had like 3 good channels. They had to have a repeater, and they didn't have a repeater for that area. But the next step is always then some type of streaming device. But if you want to really buckle down, like in the county of LA, you have, I think, 100 and some different channels, and you just have to have a good, reliable HDTV connection, and there you go. And you don't even need to stream technically, but where, you know, if you have an iPhone or an Android, it's getting to the point where you're pretty much probably going to start watching a lot of programs on that, because it's just going to make more sense, especially if you have Wi-Fi. If you have Wi-Fi, you pretty much have all that you need. You really do. You know, have a good package. Honestly, I think everybody should have some sort of Wi-Fi, right? You know, so you can learn, you can connect, you can get connected with other people. And there's so many different ways to do that and or stream on a mobile device and or computer or whatever device is being connected currently. All you have to do is tap in whatever channel it is, and there you go. And I think going forward, I think Roku has some pretty cool things. Apple TV has some stuff which you get live TV like you would. I think there's a subscription service, but at the end of the day, if you don't want to spend that much money, just invest in a antenna. Let me see. I could bring one up if you want. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Antenna. All right, let me bring this up. I haven't done this in a while, but instead of talking about it, let me show you. And you can buy them on Amazon, technically, right away. I'm going to go to Best Buy because I actually like Best Buy. And a lot of places have Best Buy. So let's go there. TV antenna, HDTV, and digital TV antennas. Okay. And let me bring that up here in a minute. Let me just, and if you're just joining us, this is the after show. But I feel this information is important for somebody out there on how to get, here we go. All right, let me bring that up. Actually, let me bring that full screen. Okay, so see that? Okay, so you're seeing what I'm seeing here. Let's do not best selling. I'm going to do high to low because best selling is good. Now, these are super expensive, but remember, it's a one-time purchase, which is great. So you don't have to do it again. Now, this dish playmaker, I have no idea what that is, but I have a feeling you could put that, and I've seen this, I believe, on like RVs, technically. So you could be connected to dish if you want that, but that's not the same thing. This one looks pretty fancy. The antenna is Clearstream 4 Max indoor-outdoor HD TV antenna, black. It looks like, honestly, that is probably a better one than... Let me scroll down. Let's see here. This one's kind of cool. If you don't like the way they look, this one, it's called Leaf Supreme Pro Indoor Amplified HDTV, and you put it on the window, I believe, or the wall, and you put it where you get the good reception. So you got to test it out. You got to get a long enough cable to go to it, because it connects into the back of your smart TV device. The majority of them actually have it now. So I would honestly, okay, so see, here's one, a bundled. This is cool. Package Roku, streaming stick with voice remote with TV power and volume, black and insignia, ultra thin indoor plate HDTV antenna, black, white. The problem with these is if you're in an area that doesn't get good reception, they're not the best. This little one right here, not always the best. I've seen how they perform. So in this case, I would probably stick, if it's a one-time purchase, you might as well go a little bit better. I would go, I don't know if I would do this one, the 149. That depends on how many channels you actually get. And ask your local person who has one of these. I pulled people in one area. I thought I could get it. They're like, well, I only have like 5 channels. I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to pay $150 for 5 channels. So it really depends on where you live. Okay. It's not one size fits all depending on where you're at. But if you're in a local metropolitan area, and I mean, this makes it, a good gift. But there are some of your choices. Okay. So that's what they look like. And if you get a bundled one, I mean, I don't know. I mean, have a good return policy set up in case it doesn't work right. Because I remember I bought a couple and they didn't work really good. So there's that. All right. But there you go. Okay. Does that help you guys? I hope that helps somebody out there. I don't know if that helps anybody or somebody. I hope that helps you out. But there you go. And even with cable, I'm not going to tell you to minimize, but do kind of look at your finances and go, well, what do you watch the most of? Take a tally of that and see if you have an ability to kind of modify your purchase. Because oftentimes they do a lot of bundled services. They give you a lot of stuff, and then you're like, I don't use it. I know people pay like $300 for their direct TV, and they're like, that money could go to something else right now, right? During coronavirus. So look, I used to work at a cable company. I used to go door to door selling cable. It was a thing. And I hated that job because no matter if it was cold, summer, whatever, I just had to go and, sign people up. I liked enjoying meeting people, but I wouldn't want to do that right here, right now, not knowing who has coronavirus, right? I'd be like, let me stay outside. I don't know. Maybe I'll take that job one of these days again. Who knows? Stephanie Reed says, I know our Ohio governor made a 10 p.m. curfew as heard. Really? Okay, so that's new news for me. I didn't know about that. Thank you for sharing. Bobby over there says, 2020, hashtag nightmare, wake up, mask on, happy holidays. Aw, I feel like it's like that, right? Maria says, Japan has that in the stores, little robots. Yeah, but locally, they had that as well. Let me pull that one up. They were testing them, and I saw this news article, and I thought it was interesting. Again, these are the things I probably should have brought up earlier. San Jose is testing delivery robots. Have you seen those? They're pretty interesting. Let me bring up, let's see. Let me bring this one up. Better yet, maybe get the picture. Have you guys seen this? This is really autonomous robots, right? And basically they look, there's so many pictures here of ones that they're currently testing. It's interesting. When you think of sci-fi, you think, wait a minute, we're already there. You're like, yeah, in certain areas we're already there. Some people are like, what? Some of them are very interactive, and I'm not getting anything I want here to show you. Let me do Amazon. But they've tested these, and they just go. Yeah, these aren't the ones I want. Oh, well. Look it up. It's interesting. And you'll be very like, huh, so we're already there pretty much with iRobot. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Again, as long as he's kind and doesn't want to take over the world, I'm good with that. All right, people. So there you go. Let's see. What other comments do we have? Let's see. Oh, a lot of people tuning in now. Hold on. Wait. Oh, these things weren't loading earlier. Sorry about that. Let's see. Maria says the future technology makes it possible for cops to catch criminals before a crime is committed. Minority Report movie was awesome. Thank you. Right? Thank you. I love that movie. It was really good. It's interesting though. Well, I don't want to give away the ending, but anything you got to be careful with, right? You got to show proof. But I don't know if we're there yet, ever. But it was interesting. All right, Judy says what she's watching. I'll bring this up. She's watching Andy Griffith right now on Sundance channels. We just found out Andy Griffith, I think, is on several times in the morning. We watched it earlier on TV Land. We also watched both Hallmark channels, especially the Christmas movies. We also love Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, Chips, Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right, Little House on the Prairie, HGTV, and I love Jeopardy. Rest in peace, Alex. Yeah, late night talk shows. And there you go. Let's see. Going down. You guys liked it, huh? Thank you, Cedric. Good show today. Okay, it was a little different, right? We just kept it a little different. Bobby says Pluto TV is awesome. That's a new one, right? He says it's free. I haven't checked that one out. Judy says the digital antenna with built-in amplifier is best, or buy a antenna amplifier. Oh, good to know. Thank you. Raw tuning in says hi from the Philippines. All right. Thank you for saying hello from the Philippines. We appreciate you. I don't know if it's Raw or RA, but go Raw. Let's see. All right. Maria gives us an interesting link there. Says go to antennasdirect.com and you can see the transmitter locator. Oh, that's good. That way you know whether it's worth it to invest in. Thank you, Maria. That would have been great for me to know before. So you could do that, antennasdirect.com, find it out, and you can see if it's worth buying a HDTV antenna and save the money. Because you could find some pretty interesting stuff on that without paying, and reallocate your money elsewhere, right? Hold on to it. That's what I'm going to say. Hold on to it, especially in the coming months. People say, no, don't say that. Look, I'm not talking to the world. I'm just talking to a few, but hold on to it. Make smarter choices financially. Lily says, hola. Hello, Lily. Good to see you. Bobby says, I made mine out of hangers and wood. Oh, your antenna? I believe it. This is some smart people. Worked great. Learn on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's got a lot of great ways to learn and pick up things. All right. Well, you guys are pretty active right now. I feel like I should continue speaking, but like I said, I think you guys have better stuff to do, right? Unless you want to talk about something and or a subject. If you guys are dealing with something, I'm more than happy to discuss it. Just let me know if there's something. I know in the coming days, I'll probably go back to some information, news, topics, stories. But for right now, let's see if you guys want to talk about anything in particular. You let me know what you want to talk about, because that was interesting news, right? HDTV antennas, right? I don't know how many of you knew that already. Probably all of you knew that. But I think if we share our knowledge, it always makes for a better broadcast, right? All right. Well, I think my time is done. I think you don't need to listen to me anymore. Seriously, you need to do other things. So have fun doing whatever you're doing. Remember, life is worth living. This weekend's going to be whatever it is. Throw in some cool ideas. Maybe what you're learning, right? Are you e-learning? Are you finding a new hobby? Are you finding a new career path? Are you investing in yourself? Because that could be a thing. And perhaps you want to learn a new thing and you haven't thought about what there is to learn. Lily says, are we going on lockdown again? Honestly, well, I said this before. I said it was most likely going to happen, but I said it would happen after the campaign happened. Now, did I think Trump was going to hold on this long? Not really. I thought at least it would be like a little bit of time, but I didn't think it would be this long. And honestly, I actually expected Trump to win. I'm not going to lie. I said that a couple times. I just didn't see Biden winning, but he did. So, there's that. But will there be a lockdown? I believe so. If you look at the numbers, here's a sad fact, okay? The numbers are so high. They're higher than they ever have been. Now, that's coronavirus cases that are tested. Now, I will say this, because I'm not that person to be like, well, let's not look at facts. Just because they're high, does that mean in reality that we're getting them worse than before? I would have to say yes. I'd like to say, and I know people are going to say that, yeah, but that's just because more testing is being done, more people are aware, people want to get tested before the holidays. I don't think that's entirely true. We've had experts on the morning show talk about cold viruses, talk about flu viruses. Just those two alone can be pretty damaging. But now that you have coronavirus still looming out there, what happens if you get 2 or 3 mixed all together? You have a very bad cocktail there of viruses all together, lumped up into one. So there's that. Then there's a situation that a lot of people are wondering about, which is our hospital system. Is our hospital system able, wherever you live, to be able, and I know some people live in very remote areas. Not everybody lives in a metropolitan area where you have a lot of hospitals per capita, per people, right? But if those are getting back, that's why I brought up that one about Mayo Clinic, 85%. Oh, I can guarantee you they're going to go on a full lockdown. Guaranteed, if they haven't already. I don't know the county's situation there, but I can almost guarantee you the moment we start getting back up to that in our hospital system, it's going to be almost mandatory. Will people fight that? I believe they might. I believe if Trump, while he's still president, if he still says, don't worry about it, we got a vaccine coming. I saw stories on vaccines that vaccines technically, even if they produce a really good one, they're not going to be ready for days and or months. But it's reported, oh no, don't worry, it's kind of like that Easter. Don't worry, we'll be fine by Easter. Then what happened? Easter came around, people went out, hey, everybody's fine, and then another big surge, right? So we get these big surges, but then we get the deaths to come with them eventually. But the reason I feel we have to at least bunker down significantly in the next 8 weeks. Viruses thrive in cold environments. True or true? Some will say, well, they don't do too well in heat. Yeah, but the summer months are gone. So now you got cold, flu. Hopefully you get a flu and just the flu, and it's a harmless flu, not coronavirus. And I say that not jokingly, but there were 3 days I actually felt really sick, but I got over it really quick. And thankfully, I think it was just a regular stomach flu. But had it continued on, or if I had a fever consistently and I had, loss of taste or bad breathing and all these things, what would be the next logical step? Go get tested, right? So I got to be careful because it's me and my mother. I got to take care of my mom. Got to make sure my mom doesn't get sick, right? And what happens if I do go out and I suddenly contract it? Now I got to be careful, and I got to self-isolate with my own self, right? So there's a lot of questions I have that I know a lot of people have to continuously ask themselves. But there you go. Now, this is news I do not know about, but Lily says this. I just heard it's happening in Riverside. All right. Well, I'm going to go look that up right now. Because I'm not going to lie. I've kind of been a little out of it of watching the news as of late because I have a lot of other things to do as of late. But what I find whenever I share this stuff, people just kind of tune out because they're just hearing it from everywhere and they just don't want to talk about all this, which I almost feel like, what's the healthy balance? Maybe you guys can help me out. Help me out. What's the healthy balance of what you do enjoy and what you don't enjoy on the show? And be raw. If you don't like the majority of the show, say it. I don't like the majority of what you guys talk about. Wish you talk more sports or you talk more whatever. We can't be everything to everybody, but we could try to focus. Like, for example, sometimes I mix it up. Sometimes I share all important news at the very beginning. Sometimes I see our numbers go up. Sometimes they go down. That depends on who retweets and or shares. It's always fluctuating, right? Sometimes people are watching on one platform. They think they're the only one watching. Maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's YouTube, but they don't realize there's more watching on Facebook and or Twitter's Periscope, right? So we pull in comments to show, hey, you're not alone. Whichever app you're on, it pulls comments from everyone, which I love. But do you love the comments? I do. I love it when each and every one of you comment because it gives people, not everybody wants to comment. They just watch it or they listen, and they sometimes let their voice be heard. But sometimes I hear people go, yeah, no, I watch the show. I just, in fact, many of them know many of you that comment all the time because they call it out. They're like, oh, yeah, I know that. But, they almost feel like they know you as well. But let's see. Residents blast Riverside plan to crack down on coronavirus violators. That's one news. Let me see here. I'm going to type in Riverside and coronavirus and lockdown. Let's see if I get something a little bit more reliable here. Okay, that's 1 month ago. 2 days ago. If you have the story or the article, feel free to post it right there. Because I hear a lot of news, and sometimes it's all... And then there's other parts of Riverside. There's other Riversides, so sometimes it'll pull up Riversides in other areas. Yeah, it's not pulling up the latest. Hold on, let me languages. No. Let's see, search settings. Let's see. I want the latest. It's not bringing up the latest for me. I don't know why. Maybe their articles or news, because sometimes Riverside isn't most. I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes they're not as search friendly as they need to be. So if you have that information, Lily, do share the post with us, because Riverside's in KMET's location, by the way. But I do see it happening pretty soon in a lot of areas. But there's got to be a smart way to do it, by the way. Because economy-wise, I just don't know how we're going to get through it. They have to make the decision, A, to forgive all debt and or pause all debt, or just say, look, let's get through this so we can get back to the way it was safely, right? I don't know if the majority of people would want to listen to that, though. I think if Trump said, look, I'm going to stop being normal Trump. I'm going to say we need to get over this. coronavirus. I don't want anybody to die, including your family, my family, and or others. Let's get through this. Let's make it make sense. Honestly, I think people would be like, let's do a revote, right? I don't know. I'm thinking out loud. Let's see. Judy says, I found out I could use my hotspot with my portable speaker. Maria says, we go 3.5 days without the news in our house, but being in healthcare, I get updates on COVID-19. We're on the edge of lockdown here in Canada in some provinces. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because you have to be. And for those that don't know, Maria is in healthcare. So thank you for your job and doing what you're doing. Be safe over there. Cedric says, I think the content is great. The Sanchez tag team is really good. Oh, you like the Jesse Sanchez situation? Good. Awesome. Eugenia says, more tech, health, and wellness. You're going to make me late for my meeting. Go. It's okay. You can always see it later. All right. Yeah, you're in that area. Look for it. When you feed off the viewers, it makes things. Yeah, right. I think so too, Cedric. I think it helps everybody figure out where. That's why I like to keep it kind of fluid, the conversation. There's certain stories that I pull up and I try to like bring those out, but then I don't want to squash the comments because I like the comments to come because I learn from you and you guys learn, I hope, from everybody, not just me. Lily's asking, what happened to Jesse? Well, this is our after show program. So Jesse's doing other programming because that's what he does at the station. So if that's what you're asking, that's what happened to Jesse. He's currently working on another program. So he has to sign off, and then it's just technically me. And we're in 2 different locations. So people often think we're in the same location. We're not. So that's how we practice safe social distancing. But we were practicing that well in advance. It's just the way we work. Well, Jeannie is still commenting, but she needs to stop commenting if she's going to be late for work. So goodbye. Let's see. Judy, whoops, I brought up Lily Holtz. Judy says, I was out of minutes on my phone and no internet and no way to communicate at all. I found out my Bluetooth speaker let me send and receive text slow, but it worked. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you kind of used it as a roundabout. Huh. Interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing. There's a show I used to watch. It doesn't make sense anymore, but it was called Call for Help. And if Leo Laporte, who is a great guy, I think he continued that, but there used to be 2 guys and they would do this whole show. They didn't do it. Maybe they did do it live. I don't know. But I think if they had done it online live, I wonder if they have that. They need to resurrect that or bring that back. Cause I think technology wise, like there's so many new technologies out there. People don't know what to get. Right. And it was a great show. Gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I always watch your show when I have time. Thanks. All right, people. Well, I am out of time right now. I really am because I got 20 other things to get to. But if I'm going to leave you with anything, I want to leave you with this. In the last few days, I did talk about what makes you happy, right? And I asked you to ask yourself that. What makes you happy? What makes you live life? What makes you want to continue living? What makes you move forward in life, no matter what hits you? Because you never know when life's going to hit you. You never know how. You never know why. Sometimes you just don't know when, how, or why all at the same time. It just bombards you. And you have a moment where you're like, I don't know what to think. And then hopefully you'll go back. You say, okay, I remember Aaron said this. And we talk about it on the morning show from time to time. Be grateful, be happy, ask what makes you happy. But now life has gone backwards for me. I don't know what to do next. To which I say this: never give up. It sounds corny. I know. It sounds ridiculous. But in the moment of it all, when you feel like you want to give up, you have to say, Got to remember that. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Continue. Okay. And when you have that type of will and that drive to succeed at whatever it is in life, whatever is thrown at you, it could be you may have lost somebody close. It could be somebody left you. It could be your job is over. It could be financially you feel like you're in ruin. It could be 20 gazillion things in your life. It's that moment where you just like, it could even be the moment of, I just want to go sleep, put the covers over my head and not want to think, right? Maybe you need to do that. I don't know. But the moment you wake up, I hope you feel refreshed and say, okay, all right, let me focus. I'm not giving up. How do I move forward? How do I take what has been given me and how do I move forward? And this might sound odd to you, but something I try to apply for myself is this. The moment you want to give up, you have to ask yourself this question. What can I do that I haven't thought about to make matters better on what I have the ability to control in my life, right? And when I say that, you have to almost use those words in particular because when you realize you have a certain measure of control, you realize there are certain things you can do in your life that you can control. There's some things that are outside of your control. Coronavirus, pandemic, out of your control, right? But you can decide whether or not to go outside, go and visit a family friend, do whatever you want, but wear a face mask. You understand what I'm saying? So as bad as the current world scene is in, people still have to deal with their own situations. Out of work, unemployment numbers are up, financially people are hurting. It's a terrible time. It's a terrible time. And whatever that is for you, it could be emotionally draining. So draining, nobody understands, or so you think. And then you have to say, okay, well, if I don't want to give up, what am I going to do next? Well, I got to live life. People may have hurt me. You know, somebody commented right now, divorce is exhausting. It is. It's terrible. It feels terrible. Anybody that's had to go through that it's a horrendous feeling. Horrendous. And nobody ever knows all the things behind the situation, but you got to still move forward. And you got to remember, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. And then the next question is, what am I going to do to move forward? And sometimes it doesn't come right away. But you go, okay, what can I not control? Isolate what you cannot control. Does that make sense? In your life, there's certain things you can't, like you cannot control other people. You just can't. You can't control what they're going to do or how they're going to do it. They have to want to do it themselves. You can help them by giving them some information, but at the end of the day, you can't control them. You can only control you and or the people in your house. Meaning, if you have young ones, you have your other family members, you know, I hate to use the word control, but you can help each other say, hey, here's our game plan. Here's what we're going to do. And then I always say this, ask and say, can you help out too? Please. I need help. Because we can't do it all ourselves. We just can't. We need the creator to help us out at the end of the day. Can you help me with the things I can't control and the things I can control? Please give me the wisdom I need in order to move forward. Please. I've asked that at the most difficult of times that I've ever had. I ask that even when I don't have difficult times. But you got to continue to ask. And you got to remember sometimes, okay, things aren't always going to go your way. Well, what can you do in the meantime to move forward in life? What can you do for yourself? Maybe it's taking some me time. You know, in divorces and or breakups and or relationships, sometimes you need to go back to square one and you need to say, okay, well, there's that. All right, fine. What makes me happy? All right, let me honestly, for me, it sounds corny, I know. I just need to take a bath, Epsom salt, relax my body, right? Calm my mood down, relax, take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, and find the time to be able to say, okay, let me just veg for a while, right? Sometimes I like to put on programming to help me get out of the mood, right? But in order to escape it, you never want to escape it fully so that you don't tackle it head on. Because now you got to go, okay, what's my step? And sometimes it'll happen at the moment where you're not thinking about it. All of a sudden you get a good idea. People get the best ideas for businesses when they're not thinking about it, right? Or when you're creating, right? Sometimes you're a book author or an artist, whatever it is. Sometimes your best inspiration comes at the moment you least expect it, right? You're driving, you're walking, you're just having some moments of reflection. All of a sudden, an idea comes, it pops into your head. You go, oh, but you say, oh, I remember it. You never remember it. Write it down. I have a good friend, Jesse Torres, always would write it down. We create some really cool stuff. And he had this pamphlet journal where he'd be like, he'd write stuff down just to be like, okay, let me not forget that. That might be a good idea. Maybe I want to tackle that, right? Little ideas like that, little things that you can do. Maybe you have a moment you go, well, maybe if I do this, I can help out my life, right? Maybe you did lose a job. Maybe that industry is currently closing. What am I going to do? Oh man. Maybe the first thing is, how do I minimize my money spending habits, right? Sometimes having to go back to square one is one of the hardest things to do. You know, people go, wait, you live with your mom? Sometimes people go, wait, you take care of your mom, right? We take care of each other, you know. But what are you going to do? You know, do I want her to be independent? Of course. Do I want to be living back on my own? Of course. Can I financially do that right here, right now? No. I got to be honest. But at least we're bunkering down, right? To get through it. We minimize our spending very much so that we hardly spend that much because we have to get through the next coming weeks and or months. We've had this discussion time and again. I say, Mom, it's not going to get any better. Unfortunately, the way we're going is just getting worse and worse and worse. I don't like to be that person, but I've been that person since March and nobody listens. Not true. You guys listen. I think that's why many of you actually are okay with that, right? And I like it when you guys are raw with me too. You know, it's okay. You know, gone are the days of shaming people to have to move in together. You know, in one of the apartments where we live, there's about, I want to say six all hunkered down in the apartment. And it's not a big apartment. It's a 1-bedroom. 6 people bunkering down. Now, honestly, would they probably rather be here than in India, which they're from? They might be. You know what? This is luxury over here than in certain parts of India. It's true. In certain parts of India, and or even the country, there's certain parts you're like, whoa, this is a nice area compared to that. We will bunker down, no problem, right? That's called appreciation for life. There's a lot of families that appreciate life that know how difficult it is. And some areas some people live in India and they bunker down all the time. Third world countries, they bunker down all the time. So they're not ones going, hey, we're going to go protest and, you know, say, I don't want to wear a face mask. They're more concerned with where their bread, their food, their money is coming from. There's certain countries that their currency has dropped to an all-time low. Price for regular food items have gone skyrocketing. It's terrible when you look at the world scene. We in the United States of America are privileged to have to complain about face masks. Remember that when that was a thing? Move yourself to a third world country just for a moment. Come back. I'll wear a face mask. It's okay. I didn't know the country around the world was that bad. I look at documentaries and places and things online. I research other countries to see how other countries have it and how difficult they have it. You may not be the starving child in a local village because, well, let's face it, maybe you're not. But that kid is out there still living life. People die all the time of malnutrition, hunger, disease. This isn't anything new, but it's something new that we're having to deal with in the United States of America because we had it good for a long time. Let's face it. Malaria, SARS, COVID, plague, smallpox, polio, so many other things that we've been able to be ahead of. So now they're no longer a problem, but now we got coronavirus, a worldwide pandemic. And so it hurts my heart when I see people simply go, oh, I want to complain about this, that, and the other. I don't even have to visit third world countries to understand and appreciate how difficult it is for them. And now we are getting a bit of that, but we don't have it to the full extent. And I hope we never do. I hope we are at least smart enough to say, okay, let's put thinking people in the same room. Shoot, I should start a Zoom video and invite all the smartest minds there. Go like, okay, people, let's do this. Let's try this out. Let's see what happens. We get an hour and a half. Let's figure some really cool stuff out. I don't know. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. But there you go. All right, people, let's see. Got another comment. I know I said I'd go away, but now you guys kept me on. You guys are keeping me on. See, Lily says this. Life has been tough lately, but I have to be strong. And Lily, here's what I'm going to say to you and anybody else that feels like that. Lily's having a very difficult time. She's been very open and honest in the chat room. Divorce is no fun for anybody. And anybody that's been through it, it's exhausting on so many accounts. You got to figure out your finance. Everything changes overnight. And then you still got to be in contact because you still got to do stuff. And it's an emotional drain. And there is no one size fits all. So everybody give Lily a little bit more of a appreciation of the day. I would love to say, Lily, it's going to be okay. But you know what? One day it will be. One day you'll get over it. And what I mean by that, that's not meant to like disarm you or put you in a bad situation. But I had to think recently of my very own breakup, right? And a part of me had to remember moments in my life when I was, honestly, I had a 4-year relationship and I thought I was going to marry this girl. I was a teenager, okay? And oh man, heartbroken. But fast forward, she ended up married to one of my very good friends. And although it was weird in the moment and the time that it was in, it didn't matter at the end because I'm glad they found each other. I could not foresee what would eventually happen, but I had to go back to the moment where I felt like giving up when I was, I want to say 15. I think there was a breakup, or maybe it was, I don't remember exactly. It was just a very bad breakup for me. And I just thought, I said dumb stuff. I was a teenager. But in the moment, I had to almost relive it to go, yeah, but I eventually was able to pull myself out of it. And things did get better eventually. Sometimes you have to remember you are stronger than you think you are, right? Isn't that what we tell the younger generation, right? When they go through a breakup? And you can't voice it fully. Don't worry, there's going to be other heartbreaks in your life. Trust me, you get to be 40, you know there's going to be heartbreaks left and right. I always was hoping, to be honest, that I'd meet the forever right away and I'd be forever, ever, right? But that's just not reality for a lot of people. It's sad, but true. I see someone, I see them marry their childhood sweetheart, and I go, I eat that stuff up. I do. But I guess my point is, Lily, I've met a lot of people on both sides of the table, men and women. Sometimes women can be some pretty bad to the men. And there's good men out there that just want a fresh start. I'm not saying you have to jump into another relationship right away. I'm just saying, if you think about your heartbreaks, some are more severe than others, it's true. But sometimes you realize, oh, that's right. there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and I was able to get through it. Does that make sense? Sometimes you almost have to go back and go, oh yeah, I'm resilient enough, right? People use that word resilient and they don't know what it means. Let me bring it up. Be resilient. Able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. Here's a sentence. Babies are generally far more resilient than new parents realize. That's true. Very true. Here's another one. Able to recoil or spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. Be resilient. How do you become resilient? Well, you got to learn, first of all, wait a minute. You almost have to get outside of yourself. Look at it in such a way and put that person of you in another situation where you almost can analyze yourself. I know some people have a hard time with that, but then ask a trusted friend who is a very impartial friend, right? And if you don't have one, I think you could do it yourself. But you have to learn to see yourself from the outside looking in. Don't pick away at what happened, what didn't happen. Don't pick away at that necessarily, because you can't do anything. You can't go back. But you have to pick away where you are in that moment in time. Saying, okay, this is what I was supposed to do. Now things have changed with that, right? Okay, you have to pivot. You have to say, okay, what can I do to move forward to at least get through the next week or so? Sometimes you can't think next month, next couple months, next year. And with the best of intentions, everybody goes, what's your goal in 3 to 5 years? Now I'm going to say, just live. I just want to be able to live and be able to create change and help people out. I don't know. I don't think there's one given path for everybody, right? I have so many different goals and I never reach them. I'm like, right? But here I am on a show that I didn't even expect to ever be on, to be honest. I never expected to be on this. But there you go. So go back to that. I know. Let me prioritize. Sometimes I go all over and then let me finalize it. When you're in a difficult situation, try to be resilient. Be able to bounce back from it. How do you bounce back from it? You say this. Have I been through other problems in my life? And if you're 30 plus, you're probably going to say, yeah, I had some moments I never thought I was going to get through, right? Sometimes you're at a moment where you go, it has never been this bad though. And you say, okay, but what can I learn to move past this? You got to take a moment, take some quality time with yourself. Maybe it's alone time. Maybe it's time with a trusted friend. And you know what honestly helped me in the first 3, 4, or 5 weeks? Focusing on other people's problems. I was like, I don't want to think about my problem. How can I help you? How can I help you? I did the Zoom. I talked to people on here, found out a lot of other people, messaged people. Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And some would be like, well, how are you feeling? And I'm like, you don't want to know. How are you feeling first? Right. And in some different conversations, I got very good advice. Well, wait, how are you doing? I heard, you're going through a breakup. Yeah. I thought you guys were going to be forever. I thought so too. What happened? I don't want to say, but well, maybe you should focus on this or that. And it wasn't always a long conversation. Sometimes it was minutes. Sometimes it was hours. Sometimes it was days. Check up on each other, right? How you doing? I'm better now. Thank you. And day by day by day, sometimes you need that support system. So, if you're on Facebook or any one of these, go find some other people and just start saying hi to them. Single people, not married people. That's my suggestion. If you're going through a breakup and or divorce, go look at some other people and say, hey, how are you doing? Check up on them. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a long time, Lily. I know but how are you doing? And trust me, Lily, you're going to find out you're not the only one that feels that way. You're going to find out there's people that feel the way. They may not be going through the same thing, but I found 5 different people that were going through some type of relationship situation. 5 different people. I didn't even know. Some of them I never even talked to before that. I'm like, so how you doing? Oh, man, what's my relationship? Really? I had the same thing. One of them was married, but we were doing business. together. And I said, so how you doing? Oh, my husband. Oh, we just got into a fight. I said, wow, that's crazy. You know what? I went through similar. Maybe you could do this, this, that, and the other. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Thank you. Sometimes we're so in it, we don't know somebody else sees our perspective differently. You understand? But that's me. I don't know if that's you, Lily. But I think it might be. I think there's a part of us that we're all very good advice givers. We're not good at advice takers. We're good at advice givers because you can't know the whole situation. Whether you give advice or not doesn't matter, though. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it matters for you just to let your voice be heard. So, Lily, go back to the first 5 people that you always can go back to, maybe when you're a teenager or throughout life. And there's those that you just know they just got your back. You know, everybody has at least that one person, right? You could never see them ever. And then you see them. Hey, how you doing? Oh, wait, what? No way, no. And those are the people that always have your back, typically, right? Or you'll have their back, right? I know some people go, no, then I find out who my true friends are. Well, then move along, right? Find your true friends and then hold on to those true friends. And then the ones that, backbite and or steal and or gossip behind your back, learn who those are and then forgive them and say, I'll get back to you when you learn to be a good person. And then, move on to somebody else. Sometimes they're a newfound friend. You don't know how many newfound friends I've found online on Facebook. I've never spoken to these people personally. I don't even know what they look like, but you have a little chat because I'm bored, alone, and just sad and frustrated. Yeah, let's see who's on there. Okay. Then I find out their life is worse than mine. I found one which was so sad. Her husband committed suicide because of PTSD. Boy, I'm telling you, my moment of, oh yeah, my situation is nothing near yours. Oh my God, how can I help you? And there's nothing I could really do. Her son was taken away because her son had behavioral issues. He's only 5. Sad. That put me into perspective. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not alone. Okay. That made me go, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. If everybody shared their toughest times that you got over, actually, let's share that. Let's share your toughest times, but that you were able to get over it. A time that you thought you couldn't, but maybe either through divine intervention, sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes all of a sudden things line up in such a way that you go like, oh, I know God is in my life because something happened really good for me, right? I know I hear about that all the time. Divine intervention. Suddenly somebody calls you up or somebody provides, hey, here's some money. I don't know why, but I think you need it. All right. Family, trusted friend. That happened to us in our family at once. Boy, were we thankful it came at just the right time. And I never want to minimize somebody's story because that's your story, Lily. I'm never going to minimize your story. But it does help us sometimes to understand. Maybe you can be a voice of encouragement to somebody else. And in some way, shape, or form, you hear something that helps you move along, helps you recover quicker, helps you feel better sooner, right? All right. So this hasn't been yeah. Lily says this first divorce was worse. I had lost custody of my children. And I'm assuming you fought. There you go. I like that. I fought and got them back. There you go. That's will. That's willpower. That's resilience. Some people give up on that stuff, right? Find that inner strength. And when you find that inner strength, you go, wait a minute. I'm not as weak as people make me want to feel. I'm strong for it. You suddenly start taking your strength back. Some people in divorces, kid you not, will take your strength away from you, or you allow them to take your strength away from you, right? Don't let them take your strength away from you. Find your strength. Don't retaliate. Just simply, find your strength and go, okay, I'm not as bad as a person as maybe somebody made me feel. No, I did everything right as best as possible. I mean, I may have misspoken a couple times, but no. Right? You got to find your inner strength. Move forward. Figure out how to make things work for you and or your family. Judy says, good morning, Lily. Remember, this too shall pass. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I heard that several times by people. That was the hardest thing to hear because I'm like, yeah, well, you don't know the half of it, right? But Judy's right in a way that is a very broad term of, but how do you get through it so it will pass, right? And Judy, I know you mean well. And when people say that, sometimes I don't know what else to say. So you have to be on the flip side of that, say, I know the intentions. Thank you. Thank you. And see, she knows. Here it is. Judy says this, I lost my oldest son, Justin, in 1999. He was 19, and I didn't think I would be able to go on. But with God's help and the love and support of awesome family and friends, I am still standing. Now that is important, Judy. I love that you backed it up with your own story. Because that brings up another viewpoint, right? When you have to lose a loved one like your son. But thank you, Judy. Thank you. Those are the stories, the real stories that I like to, for people to be honest and open about. And you know what? That makes me think. I'm going to start saying, why do you say that? When people say, I'll pray for you, or because sometimes people don't want to get information, right? People are very private guarded. I know I used to be that way. Now I'm kind of like, whatever. Maybe you can learn from it. Maybe not. I'm going to bring up this one because I'm going to bring it up for Katya, okay? Because on the flip side, there are people that are happy, and you can learn how to be happy. And I do say this to Lily. I will say this. At least you're single, ready to mingle. Value that part. Sometimes you forget how cool it is to be single and ready to mingle, right? Just, hey, no judgment. So, Katya, though, says, I've been married for 38 years to the same man. So, Katya, good job. And that's what I say. I say there's hope, right? There's hope. There really is. Sometimes you, and that's the funny thing. When you get through a divorce, all of a sudden that person, like, they do their thing, right? The moment you get into a relationship, all of a sudden they're up in your grill. Hey, because they thought you're going to stay there, right? Nope. Moving forward. You're single, ready to mingle. Move forward. Don't let that hold you back. You know, be okay with just mingling. Right? I know a lot of ones at different age groups or whatever floats your boat, right? Yeah, as long as you're open and honest at the beginning. Yeah, I'm getting through it. Don't talk all about it with that person. But sometimes some people, they're healing. Sometimes I know people that date and they end up best friends because they find a commonality in each other. They end up really good friends. They help each other through it. I know there were several ones that, you know, I went out on dates with and they ended up just staying forever friends. You know, sometimes I figured I could help them out more than they could help me. It was in some cases that we helped each other. So, you know, no judgment. That's my point. You got time. Focus forward, you know. Focus forward. Rosalie says this, currently going to court today on a domestic violence case, anxiety all week. This is something that happened over a year ago and district attorney just moved it to December 1st now. Ugh, this is what happens when grown folks can't use words. Ugh. Rosalie, here's what I can say. At least you pulled yourself out of that. That's what I'm assuming by your information there. So I will say this. It is a bear to have to deal with that stupid court system. I haven't had to deal with that personally. I've had to help other friends deal with that personally. Never a domestic violence case, but some spousal support or custody cases. I've had to be and help ones through that. It is no fun. It is no fun. The court system is so pressed down right now. Maria. Well, you guys are being really raw. I really appreciate you. I'm going to bring up Cedric here. Everything definitely happens for a reason. Mainly it's God, though. Yeah, see, I certainly hope not. I hope it's not the creator going, I'm going to put that in your way to make it harder for you. I certainly hope it's not like that. I hope if anything, Greer's like, well, let me help you out here and there. You just got to learn to ask, right? I would hate for it to be like that. Okay. Bobby says, my wife, I remote. No, so is my 14-year-old. Oh, you're probably remote. No, love it, live it, life is hell. Suck it up, live reality, life reality. COVID, yeah. Let's see. Here's another one. Maria says, I've been left for dead, beating up hardcore with no money and a child. Got kicked out of my apartment, depressed as hell. Left the city I was in, and life is awesome now. I move forward. Too much to write. That's the short of it. Maria, thank you for sharing. Yankopolos. You know, when people really share, they start finding, wait, I didn't know that. And all of a sudden, in moments like that, you feel kind of, oh, right? Thank you for sharing, Maria. And sometimes just letting that out, right? Look how far you've come. I mean, you and Rosalie have something in common, right? It's not one size fits all, but hey, maybe you can help each other. Actually, I'll bring that up again because I'm rereading that. I'm going, how did you pull yourself from that? Left for dead, beaten up, no money, and a child, got kicked out, left the city. Life is awesome now. That's a story right there. Remember the what is it? Happiness with what's his name? Will Smith. I almost want to know what was the turning point for you, Maria. What was the turning point? It sounds like when you left the city, that was a turning point for you, right? But that must have been some time to pick yourself back up. I got to imagine. I'm sure there's life lessons learned right there that we can all learn from. Good. I see appreciation in here as well. Judy says, I was married to my first husband for 15 years and we're blessed with 7 children. Oh. Sorry, I don't know what I would do with 7 children. Personally, I'd be like, wait, what? Do you do the name change? Because my mom's one of, I think, 6 right now. But there's ones that go, like they go through the whole list of kids, and then you go like, but you finally get to the one that you were meant to speak on, or they go, that's not me. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Joey. I'm sorry, George. You know, I know one that was Jack, Jeff, and Jim, right? Jim, Jack. I mean, Jeff. No, I'm Jeff. Right. I'm sorry, but she goes on to say this. Hold on. And now I have 28, I think, grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. Oh, my, you have a whole village there, Judy. You have a whole village. Thank you for tuning in and spending your time with us. I bet holidays are great for you, right? They like gift giving. I'd be building my list right now if I had that many great-grandchildren and such. I don't have any children, actually. You know, I kind of adopt the children, so to speak, or they adopt me. I remember I had one. She goes, "Can I adopt you?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" All right. Sometimes, you know, people adopt their own. Lily says, "I have court December 3rd, right before my birthday." Well, you know what? Then you deserve a good day. Have a good day and don't spend it alone. But spend it safely, okay? Seriously, don't. It's no fun. Well, Rosalie, I'm not going to put that one up then. Then separate. Period. End of story. And if you have to do what's right. If they're not going to change, then just separate. But you got to do so safely. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. because they don't change until you separate. They just don't. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh no, you have grounds. And I know what you're talking about. I'm going to stop my mouth from speaking, but I know what you're talking about. But no, when it comes to domestic abuse, I'm sorry, just no. I'm always going to be that person that says, then you need to separate. Period. End of story. Don't live with the person. It's only going to get worse. The moment, and if you gave them a chance, and if it rears its ugly head again, then get out. Just get out. Call local authorities and do what you got to do, because you got to save yourself and or others, because you don't want it to get to the point where, I mean, look at Mara. She says she was left for dead, beaten up. I don't know if that was a spousal thing, though. I don't know if that was. I didn't ask. All right. Let's see here. Here's some positivity here. Okay. Divorce is a grieving process. In my experience, this is from Nina. With my first husband having an affair with my best friend at the time and me being pregnant with our third child. Oh, whoa. Yeah, no. I bring the baby home in the midst of divorce, and my son dying from SIDS at 4 months. Oh, thought I would not be able to go on. But I focused on the good in my life. Now I am remarried and have been for 25 years. My husband is my best friend. Focus on the good in your life. Grieve and move on and tell yourself you will be okay. You know what, Nina? Thank you for that information. I think somebody needs to hear that, because sometimes people don't understand. And I tell men, more often men, but sometimes it's the ladies, right? Especially the cheaters in the room. You are holding your person captive. If you don't want to treat them right, let them go. Let them find the happiness. And then all of a sudden you find regret, right? Believe me, I know people that are like, I'll treat you like third grade citizen, and then they move on. You go, whoa. I couldn't live my life without you. Oh my God, I'm so sad. Well, you let them go to begin with. You didn't treat them precious. They weren't the circle of your life, right? You had another circle that you hid away. So Nina, yeah, I feel was it your first husband having an affair? I'm glad you found out about that and you walked away. I know some that deal with it for the kids, but sometimes people are faulty or there's circumstances that are beyond each other's control. I always have to be careful because I don't know who I'm offending in the room, because there's always that person, right? Well, we're working it out. I don't want to break up. Yeah. And I'm glad, you figured it out for yourself. However, for Nina, sounds like you had a pretty bad situation, but you ended up remarrying and you've been for 25 years. Sometimes your second love is sometimes the better love, to be honest. I hate to say it like that. Not take it away from your first. Sometimes it's not your second. Sometimes it's your third, your fourth, your fifth. I don't know. Sometimes some people never find it. I don't know. But there's hope. There is hope. And some people are so in it, they're like, I can't think like that. And I say, why not? That person doesn't want to be in your life. Focus on the next. And if you're not like, some people are like, no, you're too soon going forward. You don't. Then I say, you know what? I'm not the one that left. They did. Right? Move forward if you have to, right? But move forward to help you, not to hurt you. That's all I'm going to say. No, there's no one size fits all. I'm just speaking out of my, because I know somebody's going to be like, well, there's that. I go, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that for you. Just sometimes I misspeak. I know. Rosalie says, I beat her. I have 10 kids. Gave birth to 6. Lily says, we were 7. 2. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. Says, I have a new friend. Aw. Bobby says, 1 child was enough for just in case. Child support could drive you to homelessness. Rosalie says, all us girls need to friend each other. We can have a great support group going. Yeah, do that. Seriously. Sometimes you'll find, because I offer suggestions all the time to men and women, but sometimes they go, yeah, but you don't understand. I go, well, then find somebody that understands, right? And is ahead of the game for you, right? Help each other out. When you have a support group, you just never know. Let's see. Okay, Judy has an update on that. I got remarried, and that one lasted for 5 years. Several serious relationships just ended a 2-year relationship a month ago. I really thought both of the marriages and relationships were for life, and I played for keeps, but they didn't work out. I'm focusing on taking care of my health, physically and mentally, also helping my mama. And you know what? Look at all the kids you have and grandchildren. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I think of a life I would love, but I just don't think that's in my cards ever. Sometimes it's just not a thing. But at least you got people that care about you, and that's important, right? Let's see. Lily says, I think guys are afraid to date me. If with that mentality, no. If you look, don't throw all your cards on the table because that's weird. But just be like, look, honestly, I just want to, I don't know. Sometimes people have so much baggage, so to speak. You're like, who's going to unpack my baggage? No one, right? Maybe it's not for them to unpack. It's simply for them to just be there at the time. Sometimes there are people that date you or you date them. And sometimes you don't even call it a date. You just go seeing each other, right? But be open and honest where you're at. Hey, I just got through this. But if you're cool to be cool, then I'm cool that you're cool, right? Sometimes conversations could be that brutally honest. And they go, well, what do you mean? Well, oh yeah, I'm fine with that. You just want to, get together for lunch every now and then? Yeah, cool. I'm basically in the same boat. Okay. And then agree on this. Hey, if you ever find somebody, I understand if you got to move forward. Yeah, I agree. Just be honest with you. Okay, cool. Then when it happens, you're like, oh man, but it's all right. We're still friends. I have a friend like that. We were open and honest from the very beginning. And we stayed honest all the way to the end. And good friends for life. So there you go. Sometimes you date not knowing they're going to be a good friend. But whatever. Don't get into that whole mindset of, oh, I think guys are afraid to date me. Just, you know what? Then they're not the one for you. Go back to friends that you know. You'd be surprised. You might have some people that always had a little crush on you. Go back to the single people, not the married ones. Those will mess you up. Do not get in between other marriages ever. You don't want to be that person. Trust me. There's problems for everybody, including yourself. Just don't. Let's see. Okay, Maria, this is advice for somebody out there, I'm sure. Oh, this is more of your story. Yes, I had to remove myself from the memories and the pain. Woke up every day wishing God would take me. Aw, but my daughter needed me. I know that feeling. We moved in with the man next door and his sister. I couldn't get myself out of bed. Every day I said, okay, snap out of it. Couldn't do it. Then after months of this, I just packed us up and left. Oh, that was to take yourself outside of the situation. Is that right? I think so. Yeah. Because I think it was a spousal situation, was it not, Maria? Because I remember she's talked about her situation before. But there you go. I mean, and sometimes you do say snap out of it, right? And I don't like the snap out of it part because you never really snap out of it. You just have to learn. You have to learn, to deal with it, not isolate yourself. Surround yourself with people that care, and then move forward. That is a more healthy recipe to help move forward than doing the opposite. The opposite is you feel so bad, you just want to stay home, you never want to go out, and you never want to group up with anybody else. You don't even want to talk about it with anybody. Grieving process actually helps when you share and or have people that are in your corner. They're not always there, and sometimes the hardest times are when you're alone, nobody's up, you're thinking in your own mind. To which I say, focus on something else. See who's online. Post something, get some comments. Strike up a conversation. Hey, make friends. Be single, though. Don't be married doing that. Seriously. I got hit up by 3 different people that are married, and I'm like, why don't you get married? Yeah, I don't think we should be having this conversation. What would he think? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, bye-bye. No. No. When you start like helping somebody else, that's a recipe for disaster. It just is. Just is. So I'm careful about that. That's why I can't help Rosalie, but you single ladies can. So, and our married ladies. You know, sometimes there's wisdom from the generation that has done it all. You know, I used to love listening to well, at that time I was 18. So for me, older was like 85. And I had some true trusted friends that were 85. I think that's why maybe sometimes I offer a lot of suggestions because I learned from those. I remember, okay, going back to my life, I remember we would have, they weren't support groups, they were actual Bible studies, okay? And Bible groups, all right? And I, again, used to be a preacher. I'm not anymore. It's been a long time since I did that. And I was 15 to 25, okay? And we had a daytime study group. And sometimes I would conduct it, sometimes I wouldn't. And in that, I remember the majority were all elderly. 85 was probably the oldest. The youngest was maybe 35. And if you did an average, they were about 65. Okay. But I was 17. And they were kind enough to let me teach the Bible course, but it was pretty easy. It was a question answer, read this, that, blah, blah, blah. But before and or after, I would have conversations with each and every one of them. And I had so much fun, you know, speaking to them. And I'd learned so much. And I understood that the older you get, the less judgmental you get. You know, I'm thinking of a couple right now that were like close to 80, 70 and up. I'll say 70 and up, but 80 and above. And they're just like, now looking back, I see what they're saying. Like, it's life, right? Don't worry. Be happy you're alive. You never know at that age what day is going to be your last. And the ones I'm thinking of, they have long passed. To which I got to hope that at least they're somewhat happy where they're at. Right? All right. Let's see. So learn from the generation ahead of you. You can learn a lot. You really can. Let's see. I think I put this one up. Yep. Lily says, I will not do dating apps. My first ex beat me so bad. Oh, man. Well, we got a lot of, what is going on here? We've got like how many? It's 3 for 3 relationships abusive. That's terrible. But it's very common. It's very common, but people keep quiet. Bobby says, Lily, sorry to hear. Hold on, my thing got refreshed. All right. There we go. Rosalie says, I warn everyone I have issues. I still have these crazy guys DM me. I tell them, stop. You don't want this burden. The more I tell them no, the more they message. Well, Rosalie, here's what I say. Remove yourself from the situation then. Maybe life is trying to tell you. And trust me, the moment he sees you moving forward, oh, man. I know, I get it. You've taken the vow of marriage, and technically he hasn't done that bad thing or hasn't told you. You don't know how many times I hear that situation going on. What do they do with their life? And I know that from my mom's situation. My mom was very much in the same way. Oh, I can't leave them because, certain church and certain beliefs teach, again, well, you can only divorce in the event that, somebody commits something, right? But at the same time, don't let me be the person to tell you what to do. However, my mom found out, oh, he was cheating the whole time. Well, no wonder, right? Sometimes abusive people figure out how to be very covert. Be smart. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Maria says, it was my living boyfriend who abused me. My daughter's daddy. Which, right? Pretty much almost the same thing, right? Lily, if you're single, ready to mingle, keep it on. Just be like, hey, I just recently got divorced. I'm not ready for that, but cool to chat. Yeah, cool. A lot of dudes hit up a lot of people, by the way. A lot of ladies hit up a lot of men, by the way. Trust me, I just seen it. But you know what? You can still learn from each other. You don't know how many people I either dated or potentially dated, which are still Facebook friends, but they moved on with life, and I see them happy with their new husband, or you know, and I'm happy for them. Good for you. You found happiness. I think a lot of people that I ever dated, because there was a time, boy, did I go on a lot of dates. 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates, 1 date again, 2 dates. Yeah. Sometimes just lunch. Yeah. Some were like money grub. I'll order the steak for filet mignon. That's the last date. Right. So thank you for telling me who you really are. But yeah. There's such a thing as high maintenance. I can't go for her. I just can't. High maintenance is just, I'm sorry. You can be high maintenance somewhere else. Because when things get thick and thin of it, ooh boy, don't be high maintenance. Men and women. Some men are high maintenance, man. Actually, very rarely are men high maintenance. Are there? I've seen some, right? But whatever. Let's see. Katya says, in today's world, people often get divorced too quickly. My generation didn't give up immediately, and suddenly the marriage was fine again. Katya, I will say that's true. My mom and I had that very discussion the other day. It's a different generation. I don't know how we go back to that, to be honest. I really don't. I hope one day we do, because at the end of it, if you can move through a marriage, and again, I'm not talking about the ones that either cheat, abuse, steal from. I've seen all of those worst case. And some people stay loyal to the wrong person for the wrong reason. I'm sorry, but you do. Because the moment you separate, you get yourself out of that situation, all of a sudden you find out the real person who they are. I've had several people admit to that. They go, oh my God, you should have heard all the stuff that they were doing the whole time. I had no idea until I found out. Right? You're being abused? I'm sorry. No. Find a family friend, move in with that person that you can trust, and say, hey, I'm being abused in that house. I need to pull myself out from it. I may not be able to divorce by the church's eyes, but I can at least remove myself from that situation. And if they get the right help, who knows? Maybe in a year or so, hopefully they'll get the help, and maybe they will reform themselves. I know of certain abusers that have reformed themselves. I do, which is why I don't say they'd have no hope. But they're not going to pull back with you there still. Guaranteed. And you're not letting yourself move forward if you continue to put yourself in that. I'm sorry. I just have to say that. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm pretty sure your religion allows you to completely separate from an abusive marriage. Period. End of story. Well, it wasn't abusive anymore. Well, then good. I hope it doesn't continue that way. Sometimes it's backbiting, it's word biting, it's mentally draining, it's mentally just, you're stupid, you're done. Get rid of it. That's, yeah, you know what? We're separating. Done. What? I thought you were always going to stay. Separate. Bye-bye. And do so carefully. Some people are so mentally unwell, you got to do so without them knowing. They're that bad. So I'm not saying, let them know. I always be like, be cautious. Do the right thing. Because some end up, no, you're mine. Then crimes of passion, and now somebody's dead, right? Which I feel, Maria, is kind of your situation that you were almost in. I could be wrong, but it sounds at least left for dead. That's a situation I'm glad you lived through. But there are situations I know people are going through where they're like, I don't know how to pull myself out. We had Gordon, filmmaker, on before, and she did a film on that, short film, and some are so bad. Yes, it's so bad that people are like, what do I do? Sometimes you have to be cautious, call a family friend that's outside of the situation, and or a couple that are, older. And, so there isn't weird situation. Have a temporary friend and or family member step in and say, hey, can I stay with you for a bit? Yeah, of course. Until you figure things out. Of course. This is my current situation. Be open about it with others. They'll be like, let us help you out. Trust me. But don't come back to it right away. You say, hey, you, abusive person, you have an 8-month overhaul. It's about that long for them to prove they're not abusive anymore, or that they want to stay non-abusive, because they always resort to that. No, sorry. Crazy train, get off that. Don't keep putting yourself in that. All right, let's see here. Let's start the Breakfast Club support group. I think that's what this is, right? People are joining right now. They're like, what did I just walk into? Click off. I see people on and off, on and off. It's all right. Here's one. Cedric says this. Graduating with 2 degrees and couldn't find a good job. A family member took me in and helped take care of me. I seriously applaud that statement right there. A family member took you in and helped take care of you. There's no shame. There's no shame. Good. Lily says, I will be friend requesting my new friends. Good. There you go. That's what I like to see. Cedric says, I had to find it in myself with the help of others to keep pushing. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Go to the family friends. Go to the people that you always know you can trust. And if you have to make new friends online, then do that. You know? Oh, no. Hold on. Sorry, new comments coming in. I'm just barely catching up. Hold on. Wow, a lot of comments, actually. Hold on. All right. Maria says, I learned I don't need a man to be complete. I have a lovely, huge family on both sides from my parents and a big, wide variety of friends who are closer to me than most of my family. If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't be open about my PTSD or everything I've been through. I hid everything from my mom and siblings well, though now I am an open book. Talking helps. Once you get through it, it helps. And even when you're in it, it helps. The problem is you don't want people to use it against you, right? There's that, which is why I like our social media chat room chats. Rosalie says, I'm tired of it. Mostly I'm not there, but that's his fault. Well, I say that's technically both of your fault. You need to remove yourself from that situation. I'm sorry I have to say that. You have to. The fact that you said, well, I don't have remove yourself from the situation, go to a family friend and or trusted friend and get out of the situation. Otherwise, you're going to continue having this conversation again and again. I don't say it to be harsh. I say it as a loving person needing to say it the way you need to hear it. When you say, I'm tired of it, but you're still in it, you need somebody to say, pull you out from it. I can't pull you out from it. If you didn't hear, I live with my mom, so I can't pull you out of it right now, right? But you need to get somebody's help to help you out. Lily says, yes, in a Mexican family, you have to stay with your abusive man. My mother got mad when I left him. Yeah, you know what? It's a really bad look. In India has this problem. They almost how do I say it? They almost allow it. So much so it's a problem. You're not in India. Okay? Get out from under. We don't live in the dark ages. I am man, you are woman. I will beat you. Huh. If anything, you say, come next to me and I'll... No, I'm sorry. Because then somebody's going to create murder. But you remove yourself from that, okay? Just remove yourself from that. You got to get out of it. There is no change going to happen by staying in it. Guaranteed. You have to get out of it. And you know what? If he wants to come and talk to me, I'll say, then you need to get help, bud. You want to keep her? You need help. Because there's abusive people out there going, don't listen to Aaron. Aaron just, no, don't listen to him. Well, you know what I say? Well, then do you appreciate your woman in your life? I'm going to talk to the men in the room. I have a feeling there's none in here. And I mean men that are abusive. I don't think any of you are abusive. They would have cut off a long time ago. But if there is a guy out there and you're the guy being abusive and or creating harm to your friend, maybe you're just in a little relationship. It's not a marriage with kids. You really think your kids are going to like to see that when they grow up? You really think they're going to think highly of you when they grow up? They're not. If anything, you basically sealed your own fate. Do you really want to be known as that person? Because nobody thinks highly of people like that. Well, I have a problem. I don't know how to get over it. I was abused as well. I guarantee you that's probably the situation. You learned it from somewhere. Abuse creates abuse in people's head. And victims, unfortunately, let abusers come into their life because they think that's what they deserve. Did you know you were an abuser before you married her? And if you are, You need help. Do you really want people to know your business? Because, oh, they'll find out. They may not find out from your woman. They may find out from your kids. They may find out from a neighbor. Oh, they'll find out. Don't pretend like, oh, nobody's going to find out. Oh, we always find out. When, even in the afterlife, everybody finds out. Don't be that person. See, Rosalie says this, my husband has punched me in the face right in front of my dad, and my dad still says forgive him. Well, you know what? Your dad is stupid. Sorry. He probably has the macho man attitude, right? No, you need new friends. Sorry, I said it. The fact that your dad saw that says that your dad probably is abusive to his own wife, and you probably come from an abusive family. So you've learned to put up with it, which puts you in harm's way. Let me put it this way. Oh, I'm fine. My face is fixed. Okay. You know how much brain damage that could cause? Well, I'm not dead. Do you know how much brain damage that can cause? When people keep putting things like, well, but, I say there's something going on there, and you need to find the strength to pull yourself out from under. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. Maybe you'll have to plan it, but you need to start saying, maybe it's a church member. Maybe it's a trusted friend. Maybe it is a long lost family member. Give them a call. Hey, how you doing? And say, hey, I need to get out from this. I don't know how. It's a sad truth, but you have to do it, Rosalie. Sometimes people say these things to me, and I say, I would be amiss if I were the person not to speak up and be a voice of reason. You gotta pull yourself away from that. I'm sorry. Don't be so inundated in your head that you think people will judge you for pulling yourself from that. Nobody will. If anything, you'll find you have more friends and more family members that say, I'm so sorry. And if it's your father who said that, I guarantee your father is not the person you think he is. You don't know the whole situation. I don't have to. You get punched in the face in front of your father, and your father says stay with him? Nah. Probably because he thinks, oh, nobody's going to provide. He's probably thinking in that way. I've heard those type of conversations. You can figure it out. If Maria figured it out, you can talk to Maria. Maria will smack some sense into you. You're like getting smacked around with logic, reasoning. And Rose, I'm only talking to you like this because sometimes what I have found, the only way to get through to people's heads, which are in abuse like this, is to say it like it is. I can't sugarcoat it anymore. I just can't. Because if I sugarcoat and say, well, you know, maybe you're right. He's providing for you financially, right? He's taking care. He's working, huh? You're alone, huh? Yeah, I'd stay with him too. Don't get him mad. Don't get him upset. Just what are you doing to get him upset? Don't do that, okay? Those are stupid people talking. Don't listen to those people because I've heard those people talk. Don't listen to that. That person has no correct information. They don't. Or they weren't in a marriage where they had to deal with that. They're thinking outside the box. Not. The only way to affect change in a person is to leave their sorry ass. Sorry, I said it. And then they suddenly go, well, fine. And then they show their true colors. Oh, they get worse, right? That's why I say you got to do it under the cover of dark, almost. Figure it out. Safe way, say, hey, I'm not there anymore. What? What do you mean? Hey. If anybody disagrees with me on this, raise your hand. But I believe I speak truth. No, you don't know everything. I don't need to know everything. I know simple basics. What happens the moment he gets so mad and so angry since he hasn't done anything with it? He obviously hasn't gotten help or not enough. What happens in that moment? He's so angry and so mad from outside forces, which let's face it. This world we're living in right now is not getting any better. People are becoming more isolated at home, away from each other. Abuse is picking up. Spousal abuse, domestic abuse, children abuse, sexual abuse, so much abuse. is going to be talked about in the next year and a half. I guarantee it. Me and a social worker were talking about this and how it's going to pick up, so much so it's going to be terrible for people in the coming years. People are going to have to work out issues because everybody had stayed at home for too long. Am I the first one to want us to go back to the way it was so that we can go back to the way it was? Yes, because I don't want to prolong this. I feel like every little lockdown is just minimized to a bit, and then we all throw caution to the wind, or half of us do. So then we carry this bug, and it continues and it keeps spreading. And then why does it keep spreading? You would think we'd already develop herd immunity, yet it seems like that's not happening. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. But if you guys prove to me I'm wrong, then do so. But Rosalie, step out of there. Lily says, my ex is very high maintenance. They usually are. Rosalie, you keep proving my case, Rosalie. You get out of there. Get out of there. And correct me if I'm wrong, you still live with the guy. Get yourself out of that. Or move him out. Put a restraining order on that. I know those don't always work. Then move in some family friends that will protect you. There's a biker association, by the way. You know what? Here's what you need, and you haven't done. I guarantee it. Let me bring it up. I don't know if they're doing anything right now. These are bikers against child abuse. I don't know what they have for spousal abuse. And you know what? Go to the hotline.org. I feel like you're not getting good information over there. I really do. The fact that you're still in that. Judy says, I'm so glad you didn't end the after show early. I think we all need to vent. Yeah, I feel like this is a venting session. I didn't know I was going to be on this long, to be honest. I thought I was going to be off, but I feel like if we can save a life, and I'm sorry, Rosalie, but I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like at the end of the day, if it's not brain damage, it may be something else even worse. And I hope it's neither. You get socked in the face and or the head, you can have a concussion. Do you know what brain damage is like? It may not be severe brain damage. What if you fall and trip and then suddenly bludgeon your head? I know of cases that have happened that way. End up paralyzed. No. Rosalie, I appreciate your saying that. But at the end of the day, you have to carry out action. So I only want to thank you, honestly, once you've pulled yourself from that safely, securely, talk to the women in the room that have been through it before, ask for advice, keep it safe and under wraps. Don't say, hey, by the way, I just talked to the morning show host, and boy, oh boy, I'm going to leave your sorry ass. Right? All the anger. Don't give them time to plot against you. Be the smart person in the room, okay? See, Lily says, I did leave the situation. I'm homeless now, but not getting abused. Well, you're living with your son, right? So you're not homeless. You're not homeless. You're not living is living on the streets, homeless. Or in your vehicle. That's homeless. But I would much rather somebody live in their vehicle than be in an abusive situation like that. But you got to remember, reach out to those that are around you and our family, friends, and just say, hey, who can, I don't mean, I would hope I would never end up 100% homeless at the end of the day. I mean, if my mom, sometimes I think about that, I would hope I have enough friends to be able to say, hey, couch surf it if you have to, but at least you have your son. So don't view it like that. And at least you have your son. Some people don't have other people. And that's difficult. Judy says, well, I do love when you do the Bible stories and use your different voices for that and other stories. I appreciate that. Make it fun and entertaining. See, Rosalie, you know what to do. You do. You just don't have. Let me put it this way. And this isn't to you, Rosalie. This isn't to hurt you. This is for anybody in life, okay? Oftentimes, people know what to do. It's just doing it that is the difficult part. Does that make sense? Sometimes you're faced with a situation, and sometimes you go, okay, I've got multiple choice answers, right? Let me dumbify it and be like, okay, you just lost your job, okay? You have no income. What are you going to do next? Well, number one, look at the newspaper and figure out where the help wanted ads are. Right? Remember that when we used to do that? I remember having to do that when I was younger. And, you know, okay, help wanted. Well, who's hiring? Okay, that's number one. Oh, they want experience. I don't have experience. I don't have a bachelor's degree. Darn it. And at the time that happened to me, I was about 20, I think it was 20, 21. And at the time, my wife, who I was married to, says, well, apply anyway. I said, yeah, but they say bachelor's degree necessary. Just apply. All right. I wouldn't have done it if at the time my wife, who I was married to at 19, and again, we're friends now. We're friends. But she said, well, just apply anyway. I said, okay. I didn't believe in myself enough at that time, but she did. And I applied. They said, when are you ready to interview? I said, well, whenever you need me, when do you want me in? They said, well, what about today? I said, done, I'm there. And I was there. And they hired me on the spot. They loved me that much. And I was like, and I remember I told Melissa, I said, thank you for having enough confidence in me to say, apply anyway. Thank you. I needed to hear that. So sometimes you need the confidence. And sometimes if you don't have it, you got to have somebody have confidence in you. And then you got to act on it. If I wouldn't have acted on it, I would have said, no. Oh, no. No. Or pretended to. That would have been terrible. So act on the confidence somebody else has on you, because you may come back and say, thank goodness I listened. All right. All right. So, Rosalie, I'm reading your other story, but look, you're going to go back and forth on what you're doing. You got to get out of it. All right. And I understand with the whole house selling, how difficult that is, but there's ways to set it up so that it's at least in your favor. The problem, just talk to your attorney, ask for some simple advice, ask the women in the room, because there is property situation. I get what you're trying to do. But you sometimes you have to stop listening to friends or family members who act stupid. Sorry. And in the end of it all, fast forward, all of a sudden, they say they're sorry because they didn't know how bad it was. And I almost guarantee, Rosalie, your father doesn't know the half of it. He saw that moment, but he doesn't know the half of it. But he's not ready to hear that truth. Maybe in 8 years' time, after you pulled away from it and you pulled forward and you move forward, and who knows, you probably find a much better dude. Okay. But you need to go through a lot of. Let's take one step at a time. I've got several things that I think you need, but you got to remove yourself from that situation. All right, there is healing needing to be done, but let's not overanalyze it. Let's do one step. Get yourself from out of that environment, or kick them to the curb. You can find it elsewhere. Oh, the moment you do that, right? Oh, they're not used to you standing up because you never stood up for yourself. Well, the moment I stand up, then stand up with several other people. What is this? Everybody's against? Yeah. I want to have your dad there with you because it's like, oh, so you want to punch me in the face too? Pretty much what you're saying, Dad. Thanks a lot. Sorry. Rosalie, I'm pretty sure you have other family members that are smarter than him. Sorry, I have to say it. I'm sorry. I just don't know if you were my daughter, I would punch him in the face. And the reason I say that, I think my grandfather did that with my mom's, the sperm donor of the family. He did that to him. I found that out. I'm like, yeah, somebody had it. I can't be a baby to do that, right? So, but fast forward, I hope he learned something from it. He lost my mom for good, and thank God. But you got to learn from people like that. And I'm sorry, but I just, Rosalie, I apologize for speaking bad about your dad. But yes, if you said it, somewhere in your heart, it's true. He needs help too. He doesn't understand everything. And sometimes it's that, I think it's that, you guys mentioned Mexican mentality. Sometimes it's that the guy's always right situation. And the guy's not always right. If anything, the guy's usually stupid. If he uses his fist to silence you, I could tell you he's stupid. There's so many words I'd use to silence an individual like that. And it would start with, oh, hey, cops are here. Gonna turn you in. Oh, shoot. What? I don't want to turn him in. Oh, why? Oh, you want him to? Oh, guaranteed. You separate. He meets somebody else. You know what I say? Good. Let him. But guaranteed, that woman doesn't know what she's going to get because it was never reported properly. You got to be careful there, though. Abusers really get my hide. Lily says this: when I went to my mom and showered her, my bloody mouth, bruised face, she said, "What did you do to make it?" Yeah, Lily, and that's a common thing from stupid ignorance. I'm pretty sure your mom's a smart woman. And back to you, Rosalie. I'm going to back it up a little. I'm sure your dad's pretty smart in other ways. Just stupid at moments doesn't make them stupid forever, right? And I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, if they realize how much harm they did to you by thinking that their advice was smart, my advice is not stupid, as long as you are cautious. Don't throw yourself in harm's way, because sometimes spousal abuse victims can get really heated and people are afraid for their lives. And some will be quiet about it because they know, oh man, he threatened my life. Oh. Usually there's threats that go with it to keep you quiet. Now, do I hope he gets help? Yes. Do I hope you two work it out in the end? I'll be honest, not really. But sometimes it works out. But you got to have like a good 8-month plan. And I don't see him getting it during coronavirus. I'm sorry. And I don't see him getting all calm because of coronavirus. I don't see him getting happier because of coronavirus. I see people show the true colors during coronavirus because everybody's upset and mad because the frustrating of situations. You don't get to have fun. You don't get to get out. You don't get to, you know what I mean? I don't see it getting better for you, Rosalie. Get yourself out from under that. Yeah, Lily says this. Thank God I left my ex right before the epidemic. Thank you. Seriously. Sorry. Wow, you guys are commenting a lot. Hold on. I'm just barely catching up. Sorry if you're like, oh, trust us. We're having a whole conversation without you. Obviously said the wrong thing. Let's see. Nina says this. My dad taught 2 things about men. If they hit you, they better have a light pair of shoes on and always keep your running money. That's true. No, police will not always protect you. Sorry, Penelope. And I say that in that you got to be smart along with the police. Okay? Because you could do a restraining order, but a restraining order is just a piece of paper. It really is. You have to get yourself from out of there first. Do the necessary steps. I once dated a woman. No lie. I dated her for a few weeks, okay? And all of a sudden, she mentioned something to me about a certain person, and that person, there were certain warning signs. She was just saying, I go, okay, and you filed a restraining order? Yeah. And then all of a sudden she saw him near her place of business. And I says, oh, crap. You need to be very aware. She goes, no, I think his you filed a restraining order once on him, right? She goes, yeah. Why is he there? Oh. I said, he's stalking you. She goes, no. I said, he stalked you, didn't you? Didn't he? Yep. Long story short, she took care of business, made sure she was aware, and yep, he showed up right where she was at. But she was aware. Her and I never worked out. But my point is this. Sometimes you meet people and you're friends with them, and sometimes, hey, that person is meant to help you. You don't even know. But don't just depend on a restraining order is my point. Restraining orders are good. They get you halfway there. But you have a person with a gun, hopefully he doesn't carry. But does he not to be a gun? That's worst case scenario. Some people go, oh, they wouldn't be capable of that. You don't know. You see all these things on the news. I'd hate to be that person, but you got to be cautious. Now, maybe he's not that severe, thank God. And hopefully he gets help before it gets that severe, thank God. But, you never know. Nope. In 15 years of calling them, they only arrested him once. That was a year ago. Exactly. You have to have undeniable proof. They don't look. And Judy talks about it really quick. There are organizations that will help you. These people are used to it, and they have services that will help you. Sorry, I'm going to take a drink. I'm going to take one of Red Bull because I'm starting to lose my energy. My brain's like, oh, fried by this conversation. But I'd rather have this conversation and save your life and anybody else's life that may come into harm from this person. A blow to the head is abuse of a different sort. Verbal abuse is a different type of abuse as well. Some people take that. I say throw it back. What about you? But not so much that it gets abusive, like a fist to the head or to the body. Oh, no. There are some people that are so smart about abuse. They hit you where people won't even see the bruises. There's very smart abusers out there. Personally, I love to get their name and number, put them in a little Rolodex and say, God, then you do what you're going to do with it. I would love, right? But sometimes it's not that easy. You can't keep praying and say, God, please help him out. Please help me out. And please just help us all out. Thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. And then somebody comes to you to try to help you, and you go, oh, that's good, but I can't do that. Let me pray about it first, right? Maybe this is the advice you needed. Penelope says, they will be there for you to get your belongings. Well, here's the thing when it comes to houses and property. You got to be careful with that. If you move out, and I could be wrong, depending where your state is, but you got to find out, because sometimes the person who has occupancy technically has more power than the person that leaves. So there is that. That's why I say yours is a difficult situation. However, just remove yourself from it. And at the end of the day, split the belongings of 50-50. Who cares? Your life is more important than that. That stuff can be replaced. I know different tiers. I know certain people think of certain things. So there is a way, if depending on his type of abuse, but move some other people in with you. You can help each other out with the rent or the mortgage. Now, see, Rosalie, and I see you joking about that, but stop joking about that and take the action. All right. Because I see a lot of people do that. They kind of self-deprecate themselves, but that is not where I'm going for. What I'm going for, and I know that's how you deal with it, but you have to set a plan of action. I got to remove myself from it. You said earlier, oh, well, we still live with each other. That red flag, that was a huge red flag. Because I don't have the grounds for divorce. Well, Oh, well, you can always get remarried. Sorry, it's true. Well, I'm tied to him because trust me, I understand. I know certain religion protocol. But at the end of the day, are they going to stay there with you then in the house and make sure there's no abuse? Then move them in. The responsible men in that church, move them in. Move in the couples. All right, people, let's watch how he really is. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes I wish we had like cameras everywhere, right? I call them God cameras. Hey, let's prove beyond a reasonable doubt this is happening. Guarantee, I believe the creator would say, yeah, let's no. So sorry, you thought it was only for that I would forgive. Yeah, I don't want you dead. That's what I think God would say. Yep, pretty sure. Aw, Lily. I live out of my car and sleeping on my son's couch. Well, Lily, we need to get you some more friends. You need a roommate. And I'm pretty sure somebody else is hurting financially. And even if you can't pay into it, there's some people not paying their rent. Because honestly, that's my phone. Let it go to voicemail. I don't see a lot of people paying rent the next couple months. Sorry, I'm saying it. There you go. Let's see. Judy says, I got married at 16 and didn't work out outside the home for 15 years. I was very scared to leave. I didn't know how to do a lot of things. He took care of all the bills and taking care of the business. So I did know how to do it on my own. And we had 7 kids. So I was really, really scared. I did it and could not believe I did it, but I did. You can too. Thank you for that advice. I love advice like that. That way I'm not the only one talking. Yeah, Lily says machismo. Yeah, to the Mexicans in the room, it's so stupid and overrated. Stop being machismo. If you're going to be anything, be smart. Well, there it is. Okay. Sometimes the comfort zone is easier than the change. My dad is 80. I saw him fist up and immediately back down because he said he knew he could get killed by my husband. And there you go. I'm going to leave that one right there. Oh, he's smart for himself. Oh, he's smart. That right there. I'm just going to leave that one there. You know why I'm leaving that one up there? That's the reason to leave. There you go. Bottoms up. And the truth shall set you free. You knew it the whole time, Rosalie. I'm not saying you were hiding it. I'm just saying there's something in your subconscious popping out going, help me out. Help us out. The warning signs are right there. It's not that it's worse than you get it? The fact that your dad is afraid of him, feels he could kill him. Oh, you got to surround yourself with smarter people that say, you come with us. We'll take care of you. And there's people there. In fact, I would ask the creator right now, help her out. But at the end of the day, you got to move forward and you got to do the right thing. What city are you in, Rosalie? Actually, don't post what city you're in. But I'm assuming based on what you're saying, you're part of a church. Okay, I can guarantee that. There are people in the church, responsible people, a married couple, whether they be elderly, maybe they have retirement, they'll help you out. Guaranteed. And if you need defense or somebody to defend you, I would just start with getting where you're going to go, to be honest. You want to learn jiu-jitsu or martial arts? I think you should. A, it'll help you get your strength back, and B, it'll make you honestly, I think every victim that has been the victim of that should look at some type of self. I know we live in coronavirusville. But there's online classes you could do that. There's martial arts stuff that you can learn. I myself am learning martial arts. I know 3 disciplines right now. I could take out anybody if they come at me. Doesn't mean I'm going to take out, somebody I love, but you understand what I'm saying? So sorry, but that comment really, really tells me exactly everything I said. There's a reason you need to hear it. All right. So I'm going to end with that. That's going to be the last statement from here. And everybody friend request each other. You have a trusted source there. They can help you out. All right. Pull yourself from out of that. It's not worth it. Or get him out of there. There's a way. You already know the way. You're just afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to do it. Have no fear. You know what? Resilience. Okay, I got it. Here's what you need, Rosalie. Simple. Rosalie and anybody out there, the moment you have a moment like this where you're terrified with your life or you're terrified of what to do next and you're just trying to make ends meet, you're just trying to push forward little by little, then you need to stand up for yourself and you need to find people that will stand up with you. If you cannot stand up for yourself, then find the people that can stand up for you. Ask the Creator. Number 1. I need people that can stand up with me. 2, if you're a religious person and or part of a organization of some sort, then let your voice be heard and stop doing the whole back and forth. Well, I got to be a good wife and I got to help him convert. Throw that outside. Focus on life first, okay? Guaranteed the majority would say, oh, we didn't know it was that bad. Yeah, stick with the facts. All right? Get yourself help. And if you have fear, it's okay. But back it up with action. You can be afraid the whole time, but back it up with action. Don't let somebody, an abuser like that, put you in harm's way to the point where your own family are afraid for their own life. Your dad is afraid of his own life. That's why I say, stay with him. He doesn't want to get murdered. He's, 80? Poor guy. You should want to defend him. Lock up the abuser. That's what I say. And I get it. The court system, the system for abuse victims is very difficult. You have to catch them in the act. Or you have to have a camera. Then you have to be willing to go and report it. Go to the court system and go through it. Some people are like, I don't want them locked up. They could get hurt. Trust me. Then they could use their fists the way they only know. Does it take a murder to have to happen in order for somebody to report it? I don't think so. You have to move forward, people. You have to move forward. Okay? Move forward. All right, people. I love you. I appreciate you. That's probably the longest I've ever done a show. Thank you for spending your time. And Rosalie, I don't mean it to all right. I may give tough love, but it's always to help you keep moving forward. All right, Rosalie. We'll see you again, okay? Keep it under wraps, too. Probably delete this video off your timeline if you share. Don't share my stuff on your timeline so he doesn't watch. He'll be like, what are you talking? I mean, I don't care. You can come at me. He'll be like, oh, shit. Yeah, I cuss. It's my own after show. Trust me, people would be like, oh, crap. You want to take it out? Fine. I may look nice. I may look kind, but you know what? You come at me with a fist, I will backhand you in a way you're going to be down on the floor. Anyway, Rosalie, take care of yourself, okay? Bye-bye.